Welcome to the Walk-Up Sky Dome on the Northern Arizona University campus at 7,000-foot elevation, Flagstaff, Arizona. The Boise State Broncos unbeaten in 4 pre-conference games, matched with the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, who are 3-1 but have won their first 2 Big Sky contests. I'm Larry Manili along with Tom Scott to call this one for you, and to say the least, the Broncos would like to continue the turnaround as they open Big Sky Conference play.
Well, the Broncos 4-0 in September, getting it done on Bronco Stadium. Now they've got to do it on the road in the Sawmill here against a team that racked up over 600 yards at Bozeman last week. The Broncos are unique this year. The coaches can feel it, the fans can feel it, and the players show it. A unique chemistry on this club, and now they take it to the road.
In fact, they had yesterday afternoon what Al Borges called the most enthusiastic, emotional Friday workout he had ever seen. And we were here, and it was emotional. The Broncos think they're ready for a big performance. If they're going to have one, the guy who will key it is K.C. Adams. He leads the Big Sky in rushing, and he has been a major factor in all 4 Bronco wins.
He leads the Big Sky in rushing, 132 yards a game, and he leads the Big Sky in scoring and is second in 1AA. Last week, 129 yards against Liberty. K.C., they're already saying, is the best since Cedric.
Well, and with K.C. Adams, what Al Borges and the offensive coaches hope they can accomplish is to pop him through the line for 2 or 3 big games that will slow down the expected on-rushing, blitzing Northern Arizona defense. Whether they accomplish that or not will tell a lot about the Broncos' fortunes tonight. For Northern Arizona, it begins with Jeff Lewis, Big Sky Player of the Week, without a touchdown pass. He was awesome up north.
Well, you can look at the 409 yards, a career high for Jeff Lewis, the junior. But look down at there at the bottom line, 9 touchdowns and no interceptions after 4 games for Jeff Lewis. He has been playing great football.
NAU with a defensive unit they call the grinding stone, and they would like to have the offense be efficient enough to not cause them problems while their defense causes plenty for Boise State. We're just minutes away from kickoff. Stay with us.
Tonight's game between the Boise State Broncos and the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Flying the low-fare airline is just plain smart. U.S. Bank of Idaho. We're here for the real risk takers in Idaho. Small business owners. Blacker's Complete Home Furnishings. America's name brand headquarters, where you always buy for less. Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's. It's like no place else. And your Treasure Valley Dodge dealers. See all that's new from the new Dodge at your Treasure Valley Dodge dealer.
Question. Name Motor Trend.
You again from Flagstaff, where the Broncos have drawn an unsportsmanlike conduct even before kickoff, as the entire team went to the 50-yard line following the coin toss, and excessive celebration or taunting, one of the 2 assessed against Boise State, is the indication the referee gave. He's not yet marked the ball off. The Broncos have won the coin toss and will receive the football. Co-captains for Boise State tonight on offense, Jarrett Houski, and from the defensive side of the ball, Joe O'Brien, Stephon Reed, and Chris Cook. For Northern Arizona, the co-captains are Jeff Lewis, Art Donnell, and on the defensive side, Chris West and Jeff Bergman. This is a series that so far has been dominated by Boise State.
23-9 last year, NAU picking up his first win ever in Boise, but BSU's never lost 2 times in a row to NAU. 3-game winning streak in Flagstaff dating back to 1986, and they're marking off now the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Pokey Allen usually will yank a player out of the game after a personal foul, but he's unlikely to yank 46 players or 48 players out of the game tonight. So Kevin O'Leary for Northern Arizona gets to kick off from the 50. Will he squib it, or will he simply put it out of the end zone?
Well, he's got the opportunity, too, to pooch punt it and really hang it up in the air where the Broncos could be pinned inside their 20-yard line. And poor field position is something they would obviously like to avoid early in this game. Boise State has performed very well in the first quarter through all 4 of their pre-conference victories.
Willie Bowens deep for Boise State. There's a gap between Willie Bowens and Chris Wing and Jermaine Hudson. So we'll see how O'Leary plays this as he's able to start the game from the 50-yard line. Willie Bowens coming into tonight's game, averaging 27 yards a return. A key part of Boise State's game is on special teams.
And Bowens has set up a number of big drives with nice returns. This ball comes to the near sideline, and it's a free ball, and the Lumberjacks recover. The Broncos went to sleep on the opening kickoff, and NAU has it inside the 15-yard line.
I'll talk about non-quick starts for Boise State. The Broncos already with their backs against the wall. The unsportsmanlike conduct penalty backfiring on them. And the homecoming crowd here in the Sawmill is going nuts.
One thing you may hear in the background after big plays, we did not there, but they have begun a tradition of cranking up the volume with a chainsaw type of noise. Jeff Lewis, Big Sky Player of the Week last weekend, threw for over 400 yards against Montana State in Bozeman as the Lumberjacks won 47-30. Lewis now on first down from the Bronco 13-yard line. Opening possession. Wants to go to the air. Incomplete on the near sideline.
And immediately pressure applied by Joe O'Brien and Sione Fafita. Everybody knows that pressure has been a key for Boise State when it is not there and when it is there. It was there against Liberty last week, and on the first play they get the pressure.
Look at your Commercial Tire starting lineups. Rainey, Reyes, Calderwood, Warner, and Hess in the backfield. Donnell, Finn, Lingenfelder, Souders, and McDonald. Lumberjacks, 2nd and 10 from the Bronco 13. Lewis rolls to the near side. Ball tipped and almost intercepted by Cliff Robinson. It is incomplete for the second straight time. Lewis trying to go to his tight end, Mason Hess. It'll be 3rd and 10. Bronco defense starting up front with Chris Shepard, Sione Fafita, Travis Thompson, and Joe O'Brien. The linebackers, Jeremy Hayner, Brian Smith, and Stefan Reed. And the secondary, Rashid Gale, Tim Foley, replaced in the starting lineup
by Keith Walk
Green, and Chris Cook and Dewan Miller back there with him.
Jarris King and Chris Wing now in at the ends for Boise State in the nickel.
3rd and 10, Lumberjacks. Lewis rolling. Got plenty of room. Hit inside the 5. Touchdown, NAU. Jeff Lewis with a 13-yard run, scrambling through Bronco defenders. When he got the corner on Jarris King, you know it was trouble. And the Lumberjacks take the lead 15 seconds into this game.
Jarris King in very quickly, but did not have the angle, and Lewis able to meander into the end zone. So the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty at the beginning of the game cost the Broncos 7 points.
If Kevin O'Leary can convert out of Alex Calderwood's hold, everything works to perfection, and with 14:45 left first quarter here in Flagstaff, it's Northern Arizona 7, the Boise State Broncos nothing. Larry Manili and Tom Scott with you again from Flagstaff, Arizona, where we've played just 15 seconds officially, and the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks have jumped out to a 7-0 lead, recovering a pop-up punt with the opening kickoff. And on the third play from scrimmage, Jeff Lewis rambling into the end zone. All of that set up by an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Broncos. Now Willie Bowens from the 8-yard line across the 15, 20 to the 23-yard line, where the Broncos will have their first offensive possession.
Broncos' first offensive possession was supposed to be one possession ago. Tony Hildy leading the offense onto the field. Tony coming into tonight's game, not a bad TD to interception ratio himself. He has 9 TDs on the season, 2 interceptions. He went over 1,000 yards for the season last week against Liberty.
59% completion mark. The Bronco coaches would like him to bump that up just a bit, though they're not terribly unhappy. with the performance of this sophomore quarterback.
Broncos in double tights to start the game.
Hildy, little swing pass, and Casey Adams can't hang on. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Uncharacteristic of Casey Adams.
Your Commercial Tire starting lineups for the Broncos on offense. Along with Hildy, Casey Adams, Jermaine Hudson, Jared Houski, Ryan Akibi, and tight end Randy Matashak. Offensive line, Jeffrey Venus replaced in the starting lineup by John Miller, Kaufman, Toyos, and LePayne across the front. Broncos now with 2nd and 10 from their 23. Hildy with a play fake. He's got Casey Adams this time across the 30 to the 34 and should have a first down.
Great play fake inside to Jermaine Hudson. And a quick screen outside to KC for the first.
Petrucci, West, Martin, and Romano across the front for NAU. Couple sophomores, couple seniors. Berkman, Parker, and Taylor the backers. And the secondary, Marcellin, Stewart, Abram, and Moody. Broncos with a first down at their 34, trailing in the first minute of this game, 7-0. Hildy swings it to Casey Adams alone at the 40, 45, 50, and into Northern Arizona territory before he's finally brought down by Josh Packer.
Boy, the Broncos doing exactly what they want to do. That Casey's 60th reception of the season, as you can see, getting Casey isolated on the outside as NAU brings 5 and 6. NAU pressures and gambles on defense. The Broncos going to hot routes. That was one of them, and so far so good for Boise State. A lot of shifting you can expect tonight out of the Broncos.
1st and 10 from the NAU 46. Adams inside, nothing there, and no call. But the officials are signaling a fumble and a recovery by NAU. Two costly mistakes here in the early going by Boise State, and the Axers will set up shot at the Broncos 48. See a replay of this. Whether or not he hit the ground. That's a little quick. I'm not sure John Madden could have picked that one. 13:45. NAU on for its second offensive possession, forcing a second turnover in the first minute and 15. Jeff Lewis running the Lumberjack offense. With 3 wide receivers to the far side, he wants to go deep, not going to get it off, smothered. Travis Thompson and Sione Fafita bring him down for a 10-yard loss.
Broncos been waiting a long time for that from Travis and Sione.
Jeff Lewis brought down for a loss by number 99.
Bronco defense wants to get this potent Lumberjack offense to 2nd and long. We mentioned 616 yards against Montana State in Bozeman last week.
Loss of 7. 2nd and 17. Lewis straight back to throw. Comes to the near side. Complete to Alex Calderwood, junior out of Denver, who takes it back into Bronco territory, out of bounds at the 45, and it'll be 3rd and 7.
They got Calderwood isolated on linebacker Stephon Reed that time. Jacks going without a huddle. Broncos were in the nickel on 2nd and 17, remain in it now with King and Wing on the ends.
Lewis checking off. Play clock at 12 and timeout now. Not sure exactly why you'd stop things.
It's a sideline warning.
Sideline warning on NAU.
I'm sure they'll take it to regain the 25-second play clock. They were in a little bit of confusion out there, and I can't believe Bronco coaches would be happy with that situation. You can see that NAU very successful. If you can convert 50% of 3rd downs, you're an awfully efficient offensive football team, and they have been so far. 3rd and 7, 13 minutes left first quarter. Broncos stunned early here, trailing 7-0.
Brian Smith showing blitz, now backs off.
Lewis wanted to come to the near side, now goes down the middle. Pass completed to Claude Torrey, who takes it to the Bronco 30-yard line. First down, Lumberjacks.
Great job by Lewis of looking off that first receiver and finding Torrey, the safety valve. Claude Torrey replacing Len Rainey, who at the last minute was scratched with a hip injury. Can't find anything there. His wing goes way up into the air, rolls to his right. The safety valve, Torrey, gets it, and it's one-on-one with Keith Walk-Green and Brian Smith.
Torrey, a junior out of Pleasanton, California, transferred here from Santa Barbara Community College. First down, Jacks at the Bronco 30. Lewis to throw. Going deep, overthrows his intended receiver. Rashid Gale comes up limping at the end of that play as he returns to the Bronco huddle. He and Chris Cook back in deep coverage.
Once again, he had to hurry that throw. Pressure from Joe O'Brien and Sione Fafita. Hess was wide open. He had split the seam, but Lewis had to get it off in a hurry because of the pressure.
2nd and 10, Lumberjacks now. Crowd trying to get in it.
I wonder if the Broncos are caught off guard by this no huddle look.
Handoff inside to Torrey, who breaks it to the 25 and falls forward to the 24-yard line. Travis Thompson.
With Robinson in on the stop for Boise State. Little draw play to Torrey, who had a big game last week up at Montana State. Number 3 running back for Northern Arizona with 122 yards and 3 TDs.
Len Rainey, in fact, the senior, didn't even make the trip to Bozeman, and the Jacks fared very well offensively. 600-plus yardage. Play clock down to 5 seconds. Lewis gets it off. Overthrows his intended receiver at the near sideline on 3rd and 4, and the Lumberjacks now will have to send the kicking unit out.
Broncos doing a great job on the defensive line. For the 3rd time tonight, we mentioned Joe O'Brien and Sione Fafita. Kevin O'Leary will come on. He is 3 of 6. His long is a 50-yarder. This will be about 42.
Alex Calder with the holder. Ball will be placed at the 32-yard line. Line drive low that missed left. So the Lumberjacks capitalize on the first opportunity, unable to do so the second time. And we'll take a break. 7:49 to play. First quarter here. Broncos about to go back on offense, trailing by 7. Again from Flagstaff. Broncos on the offense again, trailing 7-0. Played just over 3 minutes. Broncos have turned it over twice. Tony Hildy, protection breaks down, and he is able to get back to the line of scrimmage, perhaps gain half a yard up to the 25.
That was the old U-bump flat. The naked boot, which the Broncos have done so much of, is now being defended well by opponents, and there was a man right in Tony's face. Broncos go to a one-back look now.
To the near side, Hildy, and inside him, Akibi. Hildy with a quick toss, and Jared Howski is knocked flat.
Raina Stewart, the left corner, came up. Unbeknownst to Jarrett, laid an elbow into Jarrett's chin.
Boy, he was blindsided, and the ball popped out.
Incomplete pass. He took it right in the chin.
Broncos will have 3rd and a long 9.
Raina Stewart, junior college transfer. Majors in advertising. A good major, I might add.
Howski and Akibi wide to the far side. Broncos on basically 3rd and 10. Trying to get something going here in Flagstaff. Hildy on the bootleg to the 30. 33, fighting for yardage, and reaches across the 35-yard line for the first down.
Unbelievable effort by Tony Hildy.
Well, I know the fans worry about Hildy's long-term injury status when he gets out in the open like that, but that's the kind of thing that the coaches really hope that he can inspire this football team with, an emotional play that keeps the drive alive.
That was all Tony. It was the option with KC trailing, a man on KC. Tony tucked it in and fought the last 5 yards on his own to get the first down.
So the Broncos with a fresh series now from their 35-yard line.
Once again, 3 wide receivers in the game, 1 back.
Penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. Pass caught by Ryan Akibi for about a 3-yard gain. We'll wait for an indication from referee Dick Brodigan as to the infraction. Didn't see any movement. It almost appeared someone may have lined up in the neutral zone.
The illegal procedure against Boise State.
Perhaps someone lined up in a wrong position on the line rather than on it.
Or on the line rather than off.
Right. So that'll cost them 5 and make it 1st and 15. If the penalty is accepted. That hasn't happened yet.
Not enough men on the line. Illegal procedure on Boise. 5 yards.
A was right, Larry. Not enough men on the line.
10:32 left first quarter. Broncos down 7-0 with possession at their 31-yard line. 1st and 15 now.
Something that drives Al Borges crazy. The Broncos work so hard on formations in practice. There are about 100 of them.
Counting all the different sets. Ryan Akibi goes wide to the far side of the field. Lee Schrack to the near side, and in motion, that's Jarrett Houski. Tony Hildy with a straight drop, little wide receiver screen, and there's not much there for Akibi. The Lumberjacks react well, and he picks up a couple.
Great open field tackle by the free safety, Derek Williams, because that play could have gone. It's a good call. Another hot route run by Akibi as the Jacks were bringing 6. And boy, when you set up a middle screen, those 6 really get there in a hurry. The line vacates.
2nd and 13 now for Boise State. Hildy rolling right, looking back to the left, finds Casey Adams, who's going to lose at least 5. Might have fought his way back for one of those.
KC was held up on that play. Ben Petrucci was the first man in on Tony and deflected the ball. KC had to stop and catch it at his feet and then start again. So he was kind of hung out to dry by the tip.
3rd and 17 after the 4-yard loss on the pass completion.
Quite clear what the Broncos are trying to do here. Get the ball to the perimeter. Negate that pressure.
To the outside, Akibi was bumped, makes the catch anyway, or did he? No, he's ruled to be out of bounds. So the Broncos will have to kick it away. Danny Weeks out to do the punting, averaging 38-1 per kick. With a long of 58. I know how much he, like every other kicker who comes into this building, anticipates a big night. The ball really sails at 7,000 feet elevation.
As long as you hit it right. Sometimes punters get over-exuberant and shank.
Alex Calderwood, a hopper to Weeks, who gets it away and drives it to Calderwood at the 25-yard line. He eludes the first tackler, eludes the second, and breaks it out across the 35-yard line. Looked like Brian Smith down first. He was stepped around, and then Cliff Robinson had a chance, and he was unable to get Calderwood cornered. Broncos finally get him down at the 37, almost 38-yard line. Timeout on the field, 8:27 left first quarter. NAU up early on the Broncos here in Flagstaff. Well, we had an indication from the field that the official had called timeout, but did not take it, so we'll keep it right here.
Looks like they're going to wave it back in again. The Jacks will now huddle after no huddling on their first 2 possessions.
Not quite midway through this first quarter, and the Lumberjacks enjoying all of it so far. Homecoming here for Northern Arizona. Trying to make it 2 straight wins over Boise State. Jeff Lewis on his hit. Wants to go deep. Got a man. Ball knocked loose at midfield.
Brian Smith all the way down there having to cover the flanker Ron Alexander.
Alexander sharing the Lumberjack lead in receptions coming into the game with a dozen in 4 games.
Comes Alexander, and here comes Smith, and the twain meet.
2nd and 10 NAU from their 36, well, 38-yard line, make it.
Lewis sees a blitz look.
Play clock at 3. And he just got it off. Lewis quickly to the far side. Pass caught. And down quickly.
Broncos blitz 2 that time. Chris Cook and Stephon Reed. Lewis checked out of it with the pass in the flat to Jesus Reyes, the true freshman out of Chino, California.
Okay, Lumberjack fans, you can still purchase your split deposit tickets from us.
After a gain of 4, it'll be 2nd and 6. 3rd and 6, make it.
More chances you have to win.
From the 41-yard line.
Broncos in the nickel, and Tim Foley is in on the nickel as the defensive back. And of course, Chris Wing and Jarris King in now as defensive ends. Jesus Reyes isolated on Stephon Reed, the linebacker.
Brian Smith showing blitz right over the center as the Broncos trying to get after the NAU offense. Lewis got Calderwood across midfield, 1st down.
Broncos pressuring well. Brian Smith blitzing that time. Travis Thompson putting pressure on Lewis. Lewis was looking for Reyes, who was isolated on linebacker Stephon Reed. Reed did a good job of chucking at the line of scrimmage, so he went to option 2, and that was Alex Calderwood.
Chris Wing had a chance, got a good rush, but Jeff Lewis very mobile. Got the completion, got the 1st down. Ball just nosing over the 50-yard line into Bronco territory. 7:07 remaining, 1st quarter here in Flagstaff. Lewis hands inside to Torrey, who will lose 2.
Broncos pushing hard up the middle with Travis Thompson and Stephon Reed.
Was his head off for Torrey.
Torrey. Now let's see what the Broncos in 2nd and 12. See if they go to the nickel. Right off the bench. Broncos still in their base defense.
Lewis to throw, gets a big rush, and he's dragged down by Sione Fafita.
That was nothing fancy. No gamble, no blitz. Just a great job of pressure by the Bronco defensive front. And Sione Fafita gets it.
Jeff Lewis sitting stunned for a good 5 seconds after that play ended. He couldn't believe he was down so quickly.
Fafita flat out beating the right guard, Bill Souders.
Number 3 Montana, final against Cal
They'll make it 3rd and 22.
And there were a couple spots in that offensive line that the Broncos defensive coaches thought they might be able to capitalize on.
In the 1st quarter,
Broncos in an improvised nickel now with Joe O'Brien moving to left end, Sione Fafita at left tackle, Chris Wing in at right end.
And referee waving the clock to a stop.
Ball, delay a game on the offense.
Lumberjacks have been close a couple of times already. Once they were saved by the officials, warning the NAU sideline to back up from the edge of the field. This time they don't get the playoff in time. It costs them 5 yards, and it'll now be 3rd and 27. They must move the ball across the Bronco 40 for a 1st down.
Broncos are once again in the nickel with Tim Foley in now.
One of the things I think we're going to see, Tom Mason said last night, and so did Barry Sachs, they're going to move Joe O'Brien around across the line. He may even be playing over center at times if they think that's where an opportunity is. From shotgun formation, Jeff Lewis under pressure, rolls away from it, gets his pass off. Calderwood is knocked out of bounds at his own 42-yard line, and NAU will have to punt.
He had to go to the short man because of the pressure. Everybody covered deep. Good job by Keith Watt Green and Rashid Gale. And now Casey Adams. And they're lining up in a traditional formation before O'Leary drops back in punt formation now.
Casey Adams back at the Bronco 15-yard line. O'Leary gets the punt away. It is short. Adams will stay back, and it'll bounce toward the Bronco end zone, and a horrendous start continues for Boise State as the ball will be downed at the 1-yard line, and nothing Casey Adams can do with that one. That's the most dangerous thing to even think about, is trying to field a ball that's hopping like that.
You are to stay away from that ball. 58-yard punt by Kevin O'Leary, and we'll take a timeout.
4:54, first Arizona here on homecoming night in Flagstaff, Arizona. Through the first 10 minutes of this football game, Broncos backed up to their own goal line as they take possession again.
Major shifting. Hildy at first lined up at tight end and then shifted back.
Hildy rolling right, throwing deep for Lee Schrack, who's got it across the 35-yard line, and the Broncos immediately out of trouble.
Oh, the story of Lee Schrack well chronicled. The former quarterback moved to tight end at the last season, expected to kind of fade away, and he worked his way back into the lineup with a great spring when he was moved to wide receiver.
Well, he dropped 30 pounds. He's a great athlete to begin with, and you know how inspired he must be tonight. He's from Tempe and transferred to Boise State from Mesa Junior College, so I'm sure a lot of family and friends here watching. Lee Schrack with the Broncos' first big play of the night on offense. Casey Adams breaks a tackle and gets it out to the 39, a gain of 2 after it looked like he might lose 2.
Well, he always makes the first guy miss, as they say, again and again, but there were too many guys there to make miss, and Jared Loggins came out to make the count for NAU. Once again, the Broncos trying to counter the NAU pressure, crossing them up. If Casey had gotten past that one man, you know what would have happened.
Broncos now with double tight ends, Matashak 85 and Zimmerman 82. The white guys are Akibi to the near side and Howski at the top of your screen. Hildy rolling, overthrows Matashak, incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down and 8.
Make it boot roll right. Well read by Northern Arizona.
3:47 left, first quarter. A very quiet start for Pokey Allen's Broncos.
Yet they only trail 7-0.
Northern Arizona had a chance to add more points, recovering a Casey Adams fumble just a minute 15 seconds into this game after having recovered the opening kickoff. 3rd and 8. Hildy gets a big rush, ducks under, now goes deep, and an interception almost happened, but the play, I believe, had been ruled dead before that. I'm not sure. Perhaps not.
It doesn't look like it, but everybody thought it had. Howski and Akibi gave up on their routes, and it almost cost the Broncos an interception. Howski and Akibi just standing there, and you can't do that. You got to run everything out until you hear that whistle and then some.
Danny Weeks on the kick again for the Broncos, standing at his 25-yard line. Alex Calderwood back at the NAU 15. Another skipper, and Weeks will not get this one off. Second straight low snap from center, and the Broncos with their 3rd major error in the first quarter.
2 of them on special teams. Special teams a pride of this year's Boise State squad, and 2 major mistakes on special teams.
Long snapper Joe O'Brien has been bothered with a sore shoulder through the first few weeks of this season. At one point, he was replaced by Paul Kaufman, who came up a little injured himself and had to finally give that up himself. So here we are with NAU at the Bronco 25, 3:35 in the first quarter.
NAU started the game on the Boise State 14.
Torrey caught behind the line of scrimmage and brought down by Brian Smith for a loss. A penalty flag at the line of scrimmage.
Torrey bobbled that ball. It allowed the pursuit to catch. Catch the beginning to see if there was any movement, but Torrey was concentrating on the ball. Brian Smith concentrating on the knees of Claude Torrey. Illegal procedure is the call against Northern Arizona. That'll back the Lumberjacks back up to the 30-yard line.
if the Broncos accept it. Now, there was lost yardage of 1 or 2 there.
Illegal procedure. Here, declined.
So the Broncos will take a yard loss on the play. It'll be 2nd and 11 rather than 1st and 15. Officiating crew tonight, that was your referee, Dick Brodigan. He's being assisted in this game by umpire Ron Moore, head linesman Pink Evans, the linesman Jim Trednowski, field judge is Lawrence Farina, and the back judge is Dee Burton. 3.5 minutes, first quarter. And now the Broncos apparently have changed their mind and accepted the penalty. This night gets stranger and stranger.
There's been nothing common about this night in the sawmill.
Is it me, or did he not say they'd refuse the penalty?
I heard the same thing you did.
1st and 15 at the 30. Jeff Lewis to throw. Ball caught, tackle broken by number 1, Rod Alexander, who carries it inside the 15 and gets the first down for NAU.
NAU had Alexander on a linebacker, Stephon Reed, who did everything he could, but a hot route to Alexander. Both teams trying to negate the other's pressure the same way. Quick drops and quick delivery. Some confusion now as Lewis directs Mason Hess off the field.
Get out of here. Penalty flag. That'll cost NAU 5, but who knows whether anybody will accept it. If they do, whether it'll be marched off.
That was a man too far in motion.
At 10:30 p.m. at the World Activity Center, there'll be food, drink, and games.
Well, they expected to sell out the walk-up Skydome tonight, but there are a lot of empty seats on the ends.
The near side looks pretty full, but the far side, there are 3 sections that are basically empty. Probably 10,000 plus, maybe 12. They had hoped for maybe 16.
Remember that flag? They waved it off.
Oh, my.
So it's 1st and 10 inside the Boise State 14.
Lewis now with 3 wide receivers. Broncos with a big rush, the middle screen, and positive yardage as Alexander dragging tacklers. No, not Alexander, it's Reyes dragging tacklers inside the 10-yard line.
Jesus Reyes should have been tackled for a loss. The middle screen set up here. You see the Bronco defensive line realizing it just a little bit too late. Reyes should have been tackled for a loss. Instead, fights his way for 5 extra yards in the grasp of 2 Broncos.
2nd down and 4 from the Bronco 8-yard line. NAU trying to build on a 7-0 lead inside the final 2 minutes of the first quarter here in Flagstaff. Lewis hands inside to Torrey, who's hit by Stephon Reed and drags him forward to the 6-yard line, and finally they fall at the 5.
Be about a yard short of the first down. Stephon Reed there for Boise State, the Canadian.
Well, he's off to a great start. A 6'3" senior, 215-pounder. Transferred from Butte Junior College, where the Broncos have recruited several players, and they're thrilled with the guys they got out of Butte College in Chico, California.
It's a long way from Kamloops.
1:17 left first quarter. Clock continues to move on 3rd and 1. Torrey, first down and more. To the 2-yard line.
Very placid crowd here, applauding the work of Claude Torrey as their team has a chance to go up by 2 touchdowns. Power football up the middle by Torrey.
1st and goal, NAU from the Bronco 2-yard line. This coming after the Lumberjacks took over at the 25 following the bad snap on a Bronco punt attempt. Torrey bumps it outside into the end zone. Touchdown, NAU.
Early pressure by Brian Smith and Cliff Robinson. Torrey, a flasher, went in between and scores. the Broncos, who are accustomed to getting off to early leads this season, see the other team do it to them, and we'll see how Boise State responds. Kevin O'Leary on to try the extra point. He is 20 of 22 this season, replacing Terry Belden, the All-American kicker the last 4 years here at NAU.
O'Leary's kick is good, and with 44 seconds left in the first quarter, the Lumberjacks double their lead over the Broncos to 14 points. We'll be right back. Staff, still 44 seconds left in the first quarter. The Broncos have made some critical errors, turning the ball over twice in their first 2 possessions, and then a bad snap on a punt. NAU capitalizing, scoring twice in the 3 opportunities, and leading 14-0. Kevin O'Leary about to kick it off again. Willie Bowens waiting at the Bronco goal line, averaging about 27 yards per return with a long of 57. And the Broncos could dearly use one of those right now to get themselves going again. Bowens to the far side, and he might go a long ways. One man to beat. It's the kicker, O'Leary, and he's finally driven out at the 42-yard line.
The first wave of redemption for the Broncos special teams, who had a bad first quarter. That helps ease some of that pain as Bowens gets it all the way out to the 43.
Broncos now with excellent field position in this final minute of the first quarter, trailing 14-0.
Michael Richmond now into the game for the Broncos. Broncos will shift out of this full house set, and paper airplane downfield will be removed. Mattershot lined up behind Tony Hildy, and then you see Jermaine Hudson and Casey Adams. And motion a big part of the Bronco offense this year, and there it is.
That's Lee Schrack. Hildy hands to Casey Adams, who's got the right end. If he gets a block, cuts in 50, 45, 40. Now it's a foot race. He's caught from behind, fumbles the ball. Casey Adams stripped of the football. We'll wait for them to unpile and see who's got it.
Lee Schrack is holding the ball. Lee Schrack has the ball. Lee Schrack is holding the ball. So how can they rule it any other way? It is Boise State ball.
There were 3 officials and 15 players piled up there, and Lee Schrack standing there looking at him like the cat who just ate the canary.
Well, it's got to get Casey thinking, though. A great run by Casey Adams, but he's got to.
Boy, he was hammered. And the ball came loose, but Lee Schrack right there to recover. Final 10 seconds of the first quarter. This will be the last play. Lots of motion, flag down at the line and in the backfield. It looked like a stuttering start to the play to begin with, as Casey Adams is dropped back at the 30, a loss of 3.
Well, the Broncos are waving at NAU. Mattershot went into motion. He was lined up as a fullback of sorts in front of Casey Adams. He went into motion, and then the ball was snapped, and there was a little delay on the part of the Bronco offensive line.
Now, no time on the clock. If this penalty is against the defense, for the second week in a row, we could have the unusual situation of an end-of-quarter play with no time on the clock. An extra play, as it were.
Liberty got one last week. Northern Arizona walking back.
Tony Hildy signaling the infraction against NAU, and the Broncos will have one more play with no time moving.
I believe it was a broken play that ended up in the Broncos' favor.
We have 2 fouls. We have an illegal motion on the offense. We'll mark that off. Then we have a dead ball, personal foul sparing on the defense. That'll be a first down.
So the Broncos come up big on this exchange. A 5-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage, and then a 15-yarder. And they'll have it at the 16-yard line. Now, there's some confusion among the Boise State players. I did not, and the ruling last week was the quarter cannot end on a foul against the defense.
But there was also a foul against the offense, so maybe that's where the confusion comes in.
No, they're calling them back. They've got to play one play with no clock.
And you know, Larry, this has been kind of a long quarter anyway.
My goodness, it's almost, well, it's almost 8 o'clock in Boise for those of you keeping track.
Clock is reset to 1 second in the first quarter.
We're just all kind of learning as we go here, folks.
Well, and
The clock reset at 1 second, but that's wrong, and now they've taken that off. There will be no clock timed on this play. Folks in Boise are familiar with this because we just saw it, as we said, a week ago.
Liberty got an extra play last week at the end of the first quarter.
First down Broncos from the 16. Last play of the first quarter, we assume.
Now the Lumberjacks finally get this crowd into the game.
We heard somebody on the radio today talking about a promotion, Get Noisy for Boise, and they finally are. Hildy with a toss to Casey Adams. Jumps a tackler. Lost the football again, I think.
I held on to it. But he's dropped for no gain, and that is where the first quarter will end.
We played 15 minutes, although it seemed like 15 days. Broncos trailing 14-0 when we come back. Today's game, we'll be naming the Taco Time player of the game. Performance this good only at Taco Time. And the Broncos will have to really get cooking if anybody on that roster wants to earn that award this evening. Pokey Allen really giving referee Dick Brodigan an earful during the timeout over the confusion through this first quarter, and there has been plenty of confusion.
As it is, the Broncos will start at the NAU 16 here in the second period.
This a game that could give Pokey Allen a 500 record as Bronco coach after that disastrous 3-8 of last year. The Broncos unbeaten in their first 4 this fall. Second and 10 from the NAU 16-yard line. Tony Hildy with a straight drop. Has his tight end, Matishak, inside the 15, a gain of 2.
Great job by Matishak of holding on to that ball as James Taylor, the outside linebacker, was all over him.
Played by the Lumberjacks, number 12, James Taylor.
Here comes the pressure again. Frank Romano, and then looping outside is linebacker David Couture. Matishak out-wrestles Taylor for the ball, but he only gets 2 yards out of it. Big third down for the Broncos.
3rd and 8 from the Lumberjack 14-yard line. Hildy to throw. Goes to the corner, overthrows Michael Richmond. Pass interference is the indication, and Hildy was apparently hit in the backfield as well. So Richmond was delayed in his pass route, and Hildy came hobbling away from the throw.
Now they may rule the pass interference flag an uncatchable ball.
Well, it was uncatchable only because Michael Richmond's progress was stopped, not impeded. He was brought to a halt.
That will be a judgment call by the officials, but it appears that there was a roughing the passer against Hildy, or against the man who creamed Hildy. See if we can get another look at that.
Fans, listen for the strong release
As soon as we get the ruling from the referee, take a look at it. Holding against Northern Arizona, roughing the passer against Northern Arizona. So the hold does not affect the ball being catchable or uncatchable.
Well, let's see, that's 30 yards. That'd be a touchdown, right?
Yeah. It's 14-6. There's Hildy, and here comes the late hit.
Hildy is smashed as the ball, and you can see that the defender there.
holding against the Lumberjacks decline.
Half the distance, puts the ball at the 8-yard line where the Broncos will have it 1st and goal, and they can ill afford to come away from this situation with less than a touchdown. They already trail by 14. They've got to put it in the end zone.
Right tackle James Martin, number 99, the man who made the late hit on Hildy. He has now been taken out of the game.
Broncos with double tight ends in a stack formation. Matishak and Zimmerman, both tight ends to the right side. Now Zimmerman in motion. 1st and goal. Hildy hands to Casey Adams. Dodges a couple of tacklers and carries it to the 7.
Not much more. That grinding stone defense, which is what they call it here at NAU, really swarming tonight. co-defensive coordinator Scott Fallure, a former Boise State linebacker coach under Skip Hall, helping direct this NAU defense, which led the Big Sky last season.
He's done a nice job, and shall we pass along the news to his friends back in Boise that Scott and wife Kim are expecting
numero quattro,
another baby in December. He is tickled pink about that.
And he says hi to everybody in Boise.
Second and goal, Broncos from the 7. Hildy, a quick toss, overthrows Casey Adams. And that looked a lot like the Hildy of last year.
And there are flags all over the field now.
Tony threw that one a little quickly, and he threw it a little firmly for Casey Adams, who had no chance to make the catch.
Tony getting pressure from inside linebacker Josh Packer. He had to deliver it quickly. And Casey Adams mixing it up with the defensive end Kevin Kolkman at the end of the play. Personal foul against Boise State.
So that'll take care of the first and goal. Great opportunity. It'll make it first and long.
Actually second and long, as Casey had gotten the ball down to the 7, so put the ball back.
Okay, we have a dead ball, personal foul on the offense.
Ball moved back to the 22-yard line, where it'll still be goal line to go.
Should be second and goal. The chain says third. Although, well, no, it's a dead ball, so it slots it down. Of course,
yeah, it was after the play had happened. So the play stands, and then the penalty. Third and goal, and the Broncos now have to get it in the end zone or settle for 3, or at least an attempt at 3. Can't presume anything tonight. Hildy going deep to the corner.
Right in
Howski, touchdown Broncos. Perfectly thrown, and Boise State's on the scoreboard.
Oh, what a throw by Tony Hildy on the fade. Beating a great cover man, Rod Matthews. Look at this throw.
Jared Howski's 4th touchdown of the season. And now Greg Erickson has a chance to make it a 7-point Northern Arizona lead just a minute and a half into this second period. A night that has been just disastrous so far for Boise State. And they have to feel extremely fortunate to be trailing now by only 7. 13-26. Second quarter. We come back. Battle our way back into this game after trailing 14-0 and just self-destructing throughout the first quarter. They have now scored early second and trail just 7. Greg Erickson with a booming kick that drives the return man into the end zone, and Northern Arizona will take it safely from the 20-yard line.
God bless the dome. The Broncos, as you recall, started that drive on their own 1 after a bounding punt by Kevin O'Leary, a 99-yard drive by Boise State to get the Broncos back into this ball game. And now we'll see how Northern Arizona responds and how the Boise State defense responds. Bronco defense has given up 2 short touchdown drives tonight after mistakes, 14 and 25 yards.
But I would imagine they feel good about having been able to exert a lot of pressure so far. They started to show some pressure last week against Liberty after really struggling in that area the first 3 games.
Defense has not played badly at all tonight.
Lewis with a quick drop and throw. Pass caught. Coverage by DeJuan Miller on the far side. And Alex Calderwood is brought down after a 4-yard gain.
Broncos with the pressure they are getting on Lewis. Lewis going to those quick routes on the outside. And you may see a Bronco cornerback gamble a la Rashid Gale against Nevada sooner or later.
Second down and 6. Jeff Lewis checking off. Play clock at 5. Got it off. Torrey across the 25 to about the 28-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and short for Northern Arizona.
Stephon Reed and Travis Thompson breaking down one of the Lumberjacks' favorite plays, the counter trade. They like to run behind left guard and left tackle Dan Finn and Art Donald.
3rd and 2, NAU. from their own 28-yard line.
On 3rd and short, Broncos stay in their base defense.
Lewis rolling. A lot of room. Running for the corner. Got around the corner. Outran Cliff Robinson out of bounds at the 36. First down.
Good call by Northern Arizona. The Broncos were stacked up inside. Play fake and boot to the right gets the Lumberjacks the first down at the 36.
Lewis with pretty good wheels. Try to bring you up to date on some of the other scores around the Big Sky and in college football as the evening progresses. 12 minutes to play here in the second quarter at Flagstaff. Northern Arizona first down at their 36-yard line. Torrey knocked off his feet as he crosses the line of scrimmage. He'll fall forward to the 38, a gain of 2.
Bronco defense trying to make NAU grind it out, and so far so good. Stephon Reed with the stop there as Torrey slashes inside. Len Rainey once again out with a hip muscle injury. Kept him out of the game last week up in Bozeman. Rainey has never played over half a season. He's always been plagued by injuries. We have not seen the number 2 tailback, Brian Galbraith. It's been Torrey all the way tonight.
Rainey averaging 122 yards a game, so you'd think that's a major loss, but Torrey has really played well. That ball overthrown, and DeJuan Miller reacted to the receiver, and the ball sailed over his head, unbeknownst to him. Yeah. Secondary coach Ron Gould exploding on the sideline at the opportunity lost just by a bad break there.
That was a 6-point opportunity.
So it'll be 3rd and long for NAU. The Broncos with a chance to get back in it, and the Vandals really laying one on Idaho State up in Moscow. Idaho scoring, in fact, in the closing 3 minutes to blow it open 70-21. Idaho with a chance to move up in the poll this week as number 5 team was beaten. Ball incomplete, intended for Rod Alexander on the near side, and Northern Arizona is away for the Broncos. Casey Adams will drop back as a single safety. 3rd-ranked Montana, 45-0 on Cal Poly, which has visions of joining the Big Sky. Cal all over San Jose State in that Bay Area rivalry. Utah State beaten last night by Brigham Young. Kevin O'Leary to punt. Casey Adams, chance to get the Broncos a good field position. Adams retreating now to the 18, where he fair catches, and the Broncos will be back on offense with 11:08 remaining.
O'Leary's punt is good.
First half. Boise State trailing 14-0.
If you're in the construction business, you need to turn a profit. And Western States can help you do just that. Caterpillar's new B-Series backhoe.
If you're just joining us, that's a mild indication of the bizarre evening we're experiencing here. Casey Adams pounds it out to the 34-yard line.
With the pressure from NAU, the Broncos call a quick trap, and Casey converts
Casey Adams
with a good 5-yard first down run. It's what Boise State wanted out of that play. Well, they'd like more, but 2nd and 5 is certainly acceptable to offensive coordinator Al Borges.
From the 34, Schrack, the lone wide receiver, to the near side. Howski slotted to the right, or it's Michael Richmond make it. Handoff inside to Casey Adams, who it looks to be about a half-yard short of the first down at the 39-yard line.
Casey now 7 carries for 39 yards. And Adams coming out of the game, being replaced by Willie Bowens. Hopefully for the Broncos, not an injury move. Might be it is an equipment problem. Willie Bowens now in at halfback for the Broncos.
Broncos will have it 3rd and less than a yard from their 39-yard line. 9:55 remaining in the half. 14-7 NAU. Double tight ends, a tight formation. And Hildy dropped the ball and got the first down as he crashed to the 40-yard line. Picked it up quickly and just lunged forward.
Great job by Tony Hildy. Let's see where the spot is. The original spot, the official ran along the 40-yard line and then kind of inched in a half yard once he got to the ball.
Well, if he's the guy spotting it, it may depend on whether we get a left foot or a right foot spot. Appeared that Hildy had hit right at the 40.
Yeah, he had the ball over that plane. He may have gotten it anyway, but it's not a favorable spot to Boise State. So Hildy making something good out of something bad.
5-yard face mask on the defense. First down.
Doesn't matter. Measurement not necessary as the Lumberjacks make another mistake themselves and tack on an additional 5 yards, guaranteeing the first down at the 45-yard line. Moving again, approaching the 9.5-minute mark in the first half.
Adams now back into the game for the Broncos. Michael Richmond, Jared Howski, and Lee Schrack are the wide receivers.
All to the near side on 1st and 10 Broncos from their 45. Handoff inside to Adams. Was stripped of the ball again, but after he'd hit the ground.
Not much on first down there for Casey.
Lumberjacks really grabbing at Casey Adams' arm.
Casey Adams on the carry for the Broncos with a pickup of 3 yards.
You may have seen in the Nevada and Liberty games. Yeah, that ball came out well after the play had ended.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Clock under 9 minutes. Again, the triple wide receivers to the near side, each with single coverage. Hildy with the play fake and underthrows his tight end Randy Matashak, and it's incomplete.
Once again, the Y bump flat, one of last year's favorite Bronco plays. They don't go to it much this year because it's defended so well, and it was defended well that time. Dennis Wolfley, outside linebacker, applying pressure to Tony, had to deliver it in a hurry, and subsequently it went to the feet of Randy Matashak.
So a big third down for the Broncos. If they want to keep this drive alive, they need to convert. Schrack and Richmond to the near side now. 3rd and 8 from the Bronco 47. Hildy cuts it in and dives to the 40-yard line. First down, Broncos. Quarterback keeper all the way.
And the trailing back, Casey Adams, on the option there. KC defended. Tony tucked it away and turned it upfield, and desperately trying to get out of the grasp of Jeff Bertman and get 6 out of it. There you see KC trailing. Everyone on his man. Jordy LePayne with a great block to spring Tony, and he gets it down to the NAU 40.
13-yard gain for Hildy. Hildy, well, he got the whistle as the ball was snapped, and it appears that the 25-second play clock had expired before the Broncos got the play off. Delay of game will cost them 5.
That is the deal.
And
dead ball. Play game.
Mistakes just keep coming from both sides. Not the cleanest played game that either of these teams has had this season by a long shot.
I think jitters on both sides probably. The first conference game, and both of these teams with high hopes. The Lumberjacks going into the season with high hopes, and the Broncos hopes emerging during a great September.
First conference game for the Broncos. NAU has won 2, but this is a big game for them. I mean, a lot of people have said these two teams might be playing for a 1AA playoff berth tonight. Tony Hildy going deep for Michael Richmond, who can't get there at the 15-yard line, and the Broncos miss the opportunity. It'll be 2nd and 15.
Hildy throwing deep as the pressure was applied by Frank Romano from his right end position. Michael Richmond working on cornerback Rod Matthews. That was a long fade.
And for those, you know, about that last statement and the speculation about the importance of this game, yes, it's early. It's the 1st of October, but the schedule favors these two teams for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and you'd expect that the team that would win this one would have Idaho and Montana ahead, but a chance to win perhaps 8 games. Hildy cuts in. Nothing there. A yard gained, and down he goes.
Boy, NAU's defense, seeing the quarterback with the ball, really goes after it. Northern Arizona coming into the season with high hopes. Steve Axman saying this is the first year we've had an offense. And it has performed, but it hasn't had to perform too well tonight with short yardage situations. Northern Arizona goes to Idaho and to Montana. The Broncos have both of those teams at home.
NAU averaging better than 43 points a game.
And both of their touchdowns tonight have come on short drives after Bronco mistakes. So the Bronco defense has been doing a good job, and the Bronco offense trying to even things up. This will be a critical 3rd and 13 as the injury timeout.
Might take a look at the difference in numbers for the Broncos between this year and last year if we've got an opportunity. And we want to remind you as well that Sisters, normally scheduled in this time period, will be aired tomorrow at 3 p.m. here on Channel 7. You can see the difference here. We take a look at these numbers. The difference in the Broncos from a year ago. Over 100 yards a game more in offense, in yardage, and 19 points per game scoring. They've dropped the defensive scoring average. Back to live action now on 3rd and 14. Tony Hildy to throw. Going deep for Lee Schrack, who has to step in and try to prevent the interception. And the Broncos will have to punt.
They ruled that Rod Matthews was going for the ball, as was Lee Schrack. So Danny Weeks comes on and will try to pin Northern Arizona deep. Weeks this season, 5 punts landing inside the 20. 48 in his career.
This ball snapped from the 44-yard line, so anything less than that will be great from Danny Weeks' perspective. 6:59 left in the quarter. Big rush. Weeks gets it away. Good coverage. And the ball gets into the end zone.
There's a flag down, and it looks like Weeks was hit late, so we'll see what happened. Personal foul, roughing the kicker against Northern Arizona. The drive stays alive for Boise State.
Danny Weeks got a big rush and got the kick away. The ball untouched. That means penalty. That means the drive stays alive. So the Broncos keep possession, and they'll have it inside the 30 after the 15-yard penalty.
The team that does not stop this personal foul barrage is going to lose this game. NAU has about 4 of them now.
6 minutes and 50 seconds to play as the Bronco offense back on the field. NAU defense returning as well. And another chance for the Broncos to tie this game before halftime.
So the Broncos have been handed new life after Northern Arizona was handed just about everything in the first quarter. One back set for the Broncos. Casey Adams by himself behind Hildy.
That's Howski in motion. Akibi on this side as well. Hildy quickly to Akibi, who gets a block straight upfield. 20, 10, 5, touchdown Broncos.
Al Borges is jumping up and down right now. That was the call against the blitz. The perfect call. Middle screen against the blitz. There was nobody left once Ryan Akibi caught the ball.
He got an early block just as he crossed the line of scrimmage, and Ryan Akibi scores on the 29-yard pass play. Akibi's 3rd touchdown of the season. Greg Erickson now a chance to tie this game with 6:43 left in the half. High snap. Erickson's kick is deflected, but it goes through the uprights, and we've got a new ball game. Tom Scott with you again from Flagstaff, where the Broncos, miracle of miracles from a Boise State perspective, have fought their way back into this game. And say one thing about this team, they have heart. They proved it in the first 3 games at home, each of which could have been lost in the 4th quarter. They rallied to win all those games, and now, after self-destructing to the point of trailing 14-0, and it could have been worse, they have battled their way back to a 14-all standoff with Northern Arizona. 6:43 to play in this 2nd quarter in Flagstaff.
Jesus Reyes forgot to down the ball there for a moment. Ref just looking at him, and Jesus going, I guess I better go down on one knee now as white shirts were entering the end zone.
And one of those nights, folks, NAU started it by recovering the opening kickoff. Well, the Broncos started it with an unsportsmanlike penalty for the celebration they had before the opening kickoff.
See the 82-yard drive.
Jeff Lewis now trying to answer for NAU. Straight back, looking upfield, over the middle, ball knocked away by Brian Smith, incomplete.
The Lumberjacks love to throw to their tight ends and work them against the linebackers. They did a really good job of that last week against Montana State. Lewis with good time this time. A catchable ball probably for Mason Hess, but off his fingertips.
2nd and 10, NAU from the 20.
Broncos with a 7-man front.
Pass caught out in the flat by Chris Warner, who carries out of bounds across the 30 for an NAU first down.
7-man.
Broncos paid for that 7-man front.
Exactly. Open things up on the perimeter.
13-yard pickup where he was forced out of bounds at the 33 by Von Miller. First
there for Northern Arizona.
Lumberjacks at the 33-yard line.
Ball spotted at the 33-yard line. 6:31 to play. After the 13-yard completion by Lewis to Warner. Play fake to Torrey. Lewis wants to go deep, can't get the ball off, and is dropped for a loss.
That's a coverage sack. Jason Payne, Tim Foley, Keith Walk Green, Chris Cook, Brian Smith, Rasheed Gale, all in coverage for the Broncos. Lewis had time.
Matt Weston benefits. He gets credit for the sack, but you're absolutely right. Give the credit equally to the guys downfield in coverage.
Broncos in a zone that time. And
loss of 6. 2nd down from the 27.
He has 85 yards passing.
Lewis looking deep again. Got his tight end. That's Mason Hess out across the 40 and close to the first down.
See where they spot this ball. It should be short. The official's a little bit late getting there.
Kind of wandering around out there, too. I'm not sure any of them had an idea of exactly where he wanted to spot it. The ball is marked right at the 43.
Timeout for measurement on the field.
Lewis 85 yards passing so far tonight.
Attention in the Sky Dome, the owner of a white Honda Civic, Arizona license plate,
Best guess ball placement, and they'll have a measurement at the 43. 5:37 remaining.
Broncos have a history of tight games in Flagstaff, and they played here at homecoming before. First down for Northern Arizona.
Well, they've been here for homecoming 3 times.
And won twice.
Catch the NFL action tomorrow right here on Channel 7. The much improved Seattle Seahawks taking on the Indianapolis Colts back in the Midwest. NFL Live at 10:30 tomorrow morning, and game action starting at the top of the hour.
See how that Seahawk defense does against Marshall Faulk.
First down, Lumberjacks at their 43-yard line. 5:20 remaining first half. Tight end Hess in motion. Hand off to Torrey, who gets outside and breaks it into Bronco territory. Finally wrestled down at the 49-yard line.
First running play by NAU in quite a while. Broncos are starting to play the pass heavily, and Claude Torrey loops to the outside. Straight up blocking assignments for Northern Arizona. Walk Green takes them from the top down, and it's 2nd and short for the Lumberjacks.
What a lot of the great quarterbacks over the years would consider a free play. Chance to go deep knowing you can come back and get the first down on short yardage, and that's what Lewis has in mind. He's going down over the middle. A great catch, but unable to hang on at the 36-yard line. Rod Alexander.
Lewis's pass to Rod Alexander.
But now it's 3rd and 2, and the Bronco defense has a chance to stop him here. 4.5 minutes left in the half. Lewis had time that time, but good coverage once again by the Broncos secondary. And the pressure almost got to him.
Clock is stopped. 4.5 minutes remaining in the first half. We're tied at 14. First half a Bronco disaster. NAU returning the favor in the first quarter. NAU returning the favor in the second. And contact on the far side. Joe O'Brien came into the neutral zone and made contact with an offensive lineman.
Joe looks awfully guilty there. He should have at least pointed at somebody and said he did it, you know, and gone through the motions, but.
Offsides on the defense.
Offside with
First down, Northern Arizona. 5-yard penalty will move it inside the Bronco 45.
No movement on the NAU offensive line. Joe just trying to anticipate the snap, trying not to touch Art Donald there, but he did.
So the Jacks now with possession inside the 44.
Double tights now with Hess and Hodson.
Lewis going deep over the middle. Ball knocked away.
Oh,
Jason incomplete.
Jason Payne, who's playing right now for DeJuan Miller, hanging on for dear life, getting a hand in there. It was bobbled. Calderwood almost got it back, but it's 2nd and 10.
5'8", 150-pound freshman out of San Diego. Saving a big game for NAU.
And maybe 6.
Yeah, very likely. 2nd and 10 from the Bronco 44. 4:24 left first half. Lewis to throw again. Gets a big rush. Sets up a screen. Has Torrey, who's hit behind the line by Stephon Reed for a yard loss.
The Lumberjacks had a screen set up that time. That's why the pressure was coming so hard. About 6 Broncos lumbering in on Lewis. Lewis had to throw it in a hurry, threw it at the feet of Claude Torrey, so he couldn't get there. You see the screen setting up on the right. Torrey having to regain his balance, and that allowed Reed, Chris Cook, Matt Weston to make the stop. We get a look at Stephon Reed. The senior from Kamloops, British Columbia, just got better and better and better last season. Probably the new anchor of the BSU defense.
And now a penalty being assessed against Northern Arizona, and it is 10 yards.
Holding on the offense. Repeat 2nd down.
So ball now back to the Bronco 46, where it will be 2nd down.
Broncos would have had about a 3rd and 12, but they take the field position as we approach the 4-minute mark in the first half.
2nd and 20. Broncos with the nickel defense, 5 defensive backs in there. Lewis with the play fake, steps into the pocket, throws down over the middle, ball incomplete. The deflection was caught, but I think it had already been ruled a skip pass.
Yeah, late call there. There was no whistle while the ball was bounding in the air, so it looked like it was a live ball. See, once again, Ryan Hodson, the tight end, was wide open over the middle momentarily. There, it did hit the ground before it skipped up into the air.
Please report to the Lumberjack at the south end of the field.
So it is 3rd and long.
3rd and 20 now from the Bronco, from the NAU 46-yard line. 3:54 remaining. NAU 4 of 6. They average better than 50% on the season from 3rd down yardage. Lewis to throw. Oh, Chris Cook had a chance. Just out of his reach. No flag in the secondary.
Boy, NAU wants one. Good coverage that time by Jason Payne on Chris Warner. Good protection this time as the Broncos are coming hard. Chris Cook got his hand on the ball, and then Jason Payne made the hit as the ball arrived.
Quick snap, and the ball is driven toward Casey Adams, who'll get away from it. Watch it sail over his head. And this time into the end zone very narrowly. The Broncos avoid having the ball at their 1-yard line again. So when we come back, 3:38 left in the half as the Broncos try to get their first lead of the night with a sustained drive late in the second quarter. And structure of its kind in the world. It cost more than $8 million. It is quite a facility. And we've got quite an interesting evening in progress here. Broncos with possession now on the reverse. Ryan Akibi is going to need a block from Tony Hildy, who can't get there in time to do him any good, and Akibi gets back to the 20-yard line.
I'll mark it at the 19. That's a long way to go and a lot of hits to take for a lots of 1 yard. The Broncos have shown everything in the reverse package, as you might call it. They've shown the double reverse, the reverse, fake double reverse pass, and the double reverse pass by a wide receiver, Lee Schrack.
See Hildy out there waiting for a chance to throw a block, but Akibi just could not get around the 2 or 3 guys that closed fast on him, and as a result, it's 2nd and 11. Ball marked at the 19-yard line.
Officials timeout for a moment as Steve Axman wanted to talk to the head referee.
Now the Broncos up to the line. Howski in motion. Bowens this time faking the reverse, and he's going to be hit for more lost yardage back at the 15. So the Bronco offense going to a little razzle-dazzle now, some misdirection and trying to confuse the defenders, but losing ground in the process.
Obviously, the Broncos thought the last thing that you would see is a double reverse. Now, Bowens wants to pass it here. They do have a play in where Willie Bowens passes. You see the way he's holding the ball. He wants to pass. Howski downfield had 3 men on him, so it was no go. So 2 reverses and a -5 for Boise State.
3rd and 15 with 2:10 remaining in the first half. Broncos with 3 wide receivers. Hildy got pressure across the 20 to the 26-yard line and flung down hard. He'll be short of the first down, and the Broncos will have to kick it away.
And Northern Arizona may use one of its timeouts here. They have all 3 left. So NAU will use a timeout to try to get the ball back and get something of its own, take a lead into the locker room at halftime with 1:53 left. Broncos have at the end of last season, according to Al Borges, had 60% of their offense in. Now 90% of the offense is in. Al Borges says there are about 10 plays and variations thereof to go before the total offense is in.
And I would suspect you might not see most of those for another month. The Broncos with a big game against Montana, November 5th at Broncos Stadium. And of course they've got the Vandals from Idaho coming down November 19th. Those are the 2 that everybody's pointing at. If this team could get through this evening, well, it could be interesting.
Next week, Broncos at home for homecoming against Weber State. And if the Liberty game is any indication, you better get your tickets early for that one. Homecoming 1994, next Saturday, 7:05. It's a 6:05 kickoff, I believe, against Weber State. And then tomorrow night, of course, we'll be on with Coach Pokey Allen, Broncos Spotlight, 11 o'clock tomorrow night on KTVB Channel 7.
Let's check the time on the kickoff next week. It is, in fact, 7:05. Danny Weeks to punt now. He's been the victim of 2 short snaps. This one is good, and he booms one. Driving Alex Calderwood back to his 20 to the 18-yard line. Good coverage. Calderwood eludes tacklers, takes it across the 35-yard line, where Northern Arizona will have the ball with 1:38 remaining in this half. Tom Scott headed to the sideline for a quick interview with Pokey Allen. Well, you won't want to miss that one, because I'm sure he'll have plenty to say, particularly about that first quarter when the Broncos tried their best to play themselves right out of this game. They have since settled down and gotten themselves very much back in it, but now an important 1:38 for both sides. Lewis to throw, And it's off the intended receiver's hands. That's Jesus Reyes out across the midfield stripe. In fact, well into Bronco territory at the 35. Lewis tried to lead him so that he could continue his movement toward the sideline and just had it about a yard out in front of him. Reyes reaching, unable to come up with it. Clock stopped at 1:33. Second and 10 now. Lewis going deep. Rashid Gale in coverage, and he had the best shot, but it falls incomplete. Jeff Lewis, 11 of 25 now, and even 100 yards in passing. Not the kind of numbers that he is used to putting up, because he came in 63% on the season with over 1,100, almost 1,200 yards in 4 games. So Bronco defense has made life a little difficult for him. On the other hand, Bronco special teams help make his life a little easier, setting the Lumberjacks up for a couple of short yardage drives. Now the NAU offense moving back, and a big penalty going to be assessed against the Lumberjacks. 1:27 to play. Had the Broncos declined a penalty, it would be 3rd and 10.
Dead ball, clip on the offense, 15 yards, 3rd down.
So it's after the play, a dead ball foul. They lose the down and the yardage, and it'll be 3rd and 25. And now the Broncos have 3 timeouts remaining, and if they can hold here, they'll have well over a minute to make something happen offensively themselves. Lumberjacks have to get it to their 48-yard line for a 1st down. Broncos with the 5 defensive backs in. Lewis hands inside to Torrey, who is hit and stopped inside the 30. And the Broncos will need to call a quick timeout to save some of that time. And they do. 1:19 remaining. Boise State using one of its 3 timeouts. And Casey Adams will have a chance to give him great field position. He is standing at the 30-yard line. Kevin O'Leary will have to kick it away. Now O'Leary averages 42 per kick, his longest of the season, 53 yards. Players from both teams meeting with coaches near their hash mark. Pokey Allen's done a nice job. This staff has really rejuvenated this program. A lot of folks thought they might be fortunate and have done a great job if they could win 6 games this year, get themselves a winning season and show legitimate progress. They've won their first 4, are battling here for number 5. Gene Baxman, on the other hand, in his 5th year, has turned a corner here at Northern Arizona. They are legitimate contenders, not just for the Big Sky Championship, but the 1AA playoffs as well. Here we go now. 1:19 to play, tied at 14. And Kevin O'Leary standing inside his 15-yard line, about to punt it away to Casey Adams. Token rush, a high spiral. Adams signals fair catch and makes the fair catch at the Bronco 28-yard line. 1:11 remaining for Tony Hildy and the BSU offense. Hildy in a late session with offensive coordinator Al Borges at the far sideline. No timeout signaled, and now the play clock moves, and the Broncos come on, and they will go without a huddle here. Play called at the sideline. Richmond wide to the near side. Kebe out wide at the top of the screen. Hildy with a quick toss to the far side, and contact, personal foul on the pass defense as Lee Schreck got behind the defender. Schreck was in good position to make the catch and was bumped off his feet by Tom Jeter. So the Broncos will get some penalty yardage.
Defensive pass interference. First down.
That'll move the ball out across the 40-yard line. 15-yard penalty. Still a minute 6.
Ball will be spotted at the Broncos 45, early first and 10, Broncos.
From the 43, again the Broncos with a play called at the sideline, on with no huddle. And that, of course, eliminates the opportunity for NAU to get into a defensive formation based on what they see. They've got to just react quickly. Hildy underthrows Casey Adams. Clock stopped with 1:03.
Adams falls incomplete. Down Broncos.
Now, Tom Scott's on the sideline. Might check in and see if he can hear us and communicate with us.
Yes, I can, Larry. I'm on the sideline. Can you hear me?
Well, I can't hear him. 1:03 to go. Second and 10. Hildy, good protection. Pulls it down and goes deep to the other side with a wobbler that ends up behind the Bronco bench, and now he's going to be charged with throwing the ball away unless he can successfully plead his case. He had Randy Matashak across midfield. The ball did not cross midfield.
Well, the officials will now converse and see if they will rule that Randy Matashak was close enough. Tony obviously throwing the ball away. Dave Stromswold, the offensive line coach, pointed immediately to Randy Matashak as the intended receiver.
Well, we'll see what the call is.
It's like an eligible man downfield against Boise State.
And intentional grounding. Loss of down. So a double infraction there will cost the Broncos.
Ineligible downfield is declined. Intentional grounding, illegal pass against the offense is taken. That's a loss of down.
One of the most damaging fouls in college football because of the loss of down.
What's the mood on that NAU bench, Tom? Because they've really been riding an emotional roller coaster.
It's pretty quiet down here, Larry, and the crowd is pretty quiet, too. They've been trying to get the crowd into the game, but the crowd has been very quiet tonight. The Bronco defense has had a lot of success tonight, and they've kind of taken the crowd out of the game.
Broncos call a timeout with 56 seconds remaining after the penalty. They want to talk about it on the far side. They will have one timeout remaining, and 3rd and 27 from their own 26-yard line.
Now let's see if there are any bags of tricks here. They used up a couple on the last possession that did not work. There are variations of variations in the Bronco offense, and we may see some variations now. Thing is, Northern Arizona still has 2 timeouts left and could get the ball back and make a bid of their own. Broncos on the 26. A punt would have to be a good one to keep NAU from making another bid here.
Kentucky Derby is known as the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. This has to be the longest 2 minutes in sports.
Public address announcers just asked for the head referee to report to the NAU sideline to talk to the press box.
Well, I can't understand anybody being confused tonight.
Hopefully there's no problem with the clock. Now the NAU defense exhorting this crowd to get into the game on 3rd and 27.
Report to the telephone on the sideline. The telephone.
Report to the telephone on the sideline, the announcement is made. See how the Broncos are setting this one up. Three wide receivers. Michael Richmond to be covered by Raina Stewart, and that might be a key look in this next play.
The headset that Dick Brodigan went to, of course, was worn by one of the NAU assistant coaches on the sideline. In fact, I think it was Scott Pelures, and it, of course, goes to the NAU coaching box up in the press box. And
Dick Brodigan didn't want to hear what they had to say.
no, that would not do him any good in trying to solve an administrative problem. Whatever it is, we'll get back to action here very shortly. Northeast Louisiana leading Weber 55-21. Back in the southeast, they're in the fourth quarter.
Northeast Louisiana getting its first win of the year.
Eastern and Portland State scoreless. 7 minutes left. Or excuse me, that's a 7 o'clock start Pacific time in Portland. Sacramento State beaten up on Montana State.
Oh my.
24-7 in the first.
In the first.
56 seconds left. Broncos with 3rd and 27. Casey Adams, big yardage, 35-40 to the 45-yard line, and it'll be 4th down and 8, and the Broncos will see what they could decide to do. It looks like the punt unit coming on as the clock runs. Now Northern Arizona will use a timeout with 43 seconds left, and they'll have 1 remaining. Broncos on 4th and 8 from near midfield. Do they gamble?
I don't think so, because NAU would have great field position and enough time with the 1 timeout left if they don't make it. This will give Danny Weeks an opportunity to pin Northern Arizona deep and end the half. Knot it up at 14.
Well, he'll want to rip it. He'll try to put it in the end zone if he can and make them go 80 yards in a half minute. Each with 1 timeout remaining. 43 seconds left in this nearly 2-hour first half.
Broncos have run a fake punt this year just once, and it was on similar distance, the similar point in the field. It was about 4th and 8 in the second game against Cal State Northridge.
Weeks, as we mentioned earlier, has had his first 2 snaps from center on punts skipped to him. He got the first punt away, but had to fall on the second. NAU turned it into a touchdown. This one's perfect from Joe O'Brien, and Weeks hits a line drive that Calderwood catches at the 11th. He's caught from behind by Jason Payne at the 24-yard line. 33 seconds remaining. And Northern Arizona with 1 timeout.
Broncos special teams starting to make up for a bad start in this game. Jason Payne's been a great special teams player for the Broncos. Small guy, great speed, strong, a lot of heart, and he stays in the game. He's been playing for DeJuan Miller at right corner through much of the second quarter.
Okay, NAU first down from their 24. 33 seconds and a timeout remaining. Lewis going deep to the far side. Pass caught. Tackle made by Jason Payne, who covers Rod Alexander quickly. First down at the 40.
Broncos laying back.
Clock stopped with 26 seconds while they move the first down chain, and now it runs again. 22, 21, 20 as Lewis calls a play at the line of scrimmage. To the far side, catch made by Warner, and out of bounds with 13 seconds left. Into Bronco territory at the 49. Another first down for NAU.
Well, they've got probably 1 more shot to get into Kevin O'Leary's field goal range. O'Leary's long this season, 50. So they need to get to about the 33-yard line if he's going to match that one.
He's hit the 50-yarder and 1 of 2 from 40 to 49. So they'd have to get to the 30. Lewis now. Got a rush, has plenty of room, and will run it out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Five seconds left, and Kevin O'Leary will come on to attempt a field goal that will be nearly 50 yards. It looks like they'll spot it at the 39, so it'll be a 49-yard kick. Of course, perfect kicking conditions here with no wind and 7,000 feet elevation. Good snap. The kick is a line drive that hits the crossbar, no good. And that's the end of the first half. Tom Scott is hustling across the field to get a quick reaction from Bronco head coach Pokey Allen. And I think we'll all be interested in what the head coach has to say about this first half. Let's go to the sideline now for Tom and head coach Pokey Allen.
Okay, Pokey, the mistakes of the first quarter seem to be drying up a little bit. You go in tied at halftime.
We're excited about being tied. We made enough mistakes to lose 5 football games in that first half. And I don't know, maybe it's a crowd, maybe it's being on the road, but we're back in it. I'm excited about being 14-14.
How about the defense? Playing generally well tonight.
I think they're playing real well, but we got to get some turnovers. We got to make a few things happen. We got to straighten out some of our special teams, and we're right in this ball game.
No more personal fouls.
No more personal fouls, I hope.
Okay, see you after the game. Thank you, Pokey. Head coach Pokey Allen as the Broncos go into the locker room tied at 14 here in Flagstaff. We'll be right back.
The early lead on the Broncos, recovering the opening kickoff when the Broncos were assessed a 15-yard penalty before the game began for a celebration and an emotional show. All of them gathered at midfield, and they were assessed 15 yards, and the ball kicked off from midfield, covered by NAU at the 13-yard line. On the third play from scrimmage, Jeff Lewis scored on a 13-yard run, 7-0 NAU, 15 seconds into the game. Casey Adams then fumbled. NAU recovered at the Bronco 48, but O'Leary missed a 42-yard field goal. It remains 7-0 NAU. Boise State unable to move the ball, had to punt, a bad snap. Danny Weeks had to fall on it at the 25. NAU scored with 44 seconds left in the quarter. Claude Torrey, a 2-yard run. It was 14-0 Northern Arizona. Second quarter, Northern Arizona began to make some mistakes. They punted the ball. The Broncos began a sustained drive, and Tony Hildy threw 22 yards to Jarrett Houski. Greg Erickson's point after made it 14-7. Then with 6:50 remaining, NAU charged with running into punter Danny Weeks. A 15-yard penalty. Boise State retained possession, scored on the next play. Ryan Akivi, a 29-yard pass from Hildy. Erickson's point after kick made it 14-all. O'Leary missing a 49-yard field goal on the final play of the first half. So these two contenders for the Big Sky Championship and 1AA playoff spots tied at 14. We'll send it back to the studio in Boise now for halftime news, weather, and sports, and second half action to follow here in Flagstaff.
And thanks a lot.
Team getting called for unsportsmanlike conduct after coming out onto the field before the game. Now, it didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but what it did was let the Lumberjacks kick off from midfield. Wisely, they booted up high and then cover like mad, and they come up with the ball. Then on the third play from scrimmage, NAU quarterback Jeff Lewis bootlegs right and scores on the keeper. 15 seconds into this game, the Broncos trailed 7-0. After a stalled drive, BSU was forced to punt, but they don't get a chance. A bad snap. It's not handled by Danny Weeks. The Jacks don't have to go far to turn that gap into another 6 points. 14-0 NAU still in the first quarter. In the second period, the Broncos start looking like they're supposed to. On 3rd and goal, Tony Hildy places the ball the only place it could over the outside shoulder of receiver Jarrett Houski. Touchdown BSU, and 14-7 was the score. The defense holds. The Jacks are called for a couple of stupid penalties, and suddenly the Broncos were back knocking. Hildy under heavy rush. The great call underneath to Ryan Akivi on the middle screen. He's gone. That made it 14 apiece. NAU misses the field goal right before half, and that's where we stand right now at 14-all. Now the Idaho Vandals have
Flagstaff halftime festivities have concluded. The captains meeting at the center of the field. Northern Arizona Lumberjacks lost the opening toss and kicked off to Boise State. Things went downhill from there for the Broncos, and they will have to kick off to start the second half. NAU missing a 49-yard field goal on the final play before intermission, and so we are tied at 14. Here's a look at some of the numbers that will give you perhaps some indication, although the turnovers officially at 1 count a bad snap on a punt and opening kickoff recovered by NAU, and you've got 3 critical mistakes that helped the Lumberjacks to an early lead.
You know, things I think have pretty well evened out. The the personal foul, late hit against Danny Weeks that kept the drive alive and gave the Broncos their second touchdown. I think things are back on an even keel now. First downs even, rushing yardage in favor of the Broncos, passing yardage slightly in favor of the Lumberjacks. Broncos 19 yards ahead in total offense, the 1 turnover, and time of possession almost even too. Tony Hildy 8 of 21, Jeff Lewis 13 of 27. So both quarterbacks having to work very hard tonight. The key for the Broncos, Tony Hildy with 2 big touchdown passes. Here you see what happened on those disastrous first 3 possessions.
And this is after the opening kickoff that they didn't even get possession of. They started with a fumble, a punt, a bad snap on a punt. Then they got settled down, got 2 touchdowns, and couldn't get anything going late in the half and ended up punting the last 2 possessions. NAU, on the other hand, scoring after the opening kickoff, then a missed field goal after the fumble, punt, a touchdown, and a pair of punts. The Bronco defense doing yeoman work, punt and a missed field goal. So NAU with a lot of opportunities in the first half. The Broncos dug themselves a big hole, have at least climbed up to where they can see out of it now. And Danny Weeks puts the ball into the end zone, brought back by Jesus Reyes across the 15 to the 19-yard line. Pretty good coverage there by the Boise State kick coverage team.
Well, anytime you hold them inside the 20, you've done your job. Now we start the dreaded third quarter. Third quarter has been the Broncos' problem all season long, and having to start with NAU in possession of the football is going to be a big challenge here for the Bronco defense.
At the 19-yard line.
Jeff Lewis bringing the Lumberjack offense on from the sideline late, and that means they've called a play and will do as the Broncos occasionally do, go without a huddle, giving the defense very little time to react to the offensive formation. Lewis hands inside to Torrey, who pounds across the 20 to the 23-yard line, a gain of almost 4. A little housekeeping note to our friends in the production truck with music running rampant through our headsets.
It's an inside joke, I guess.
Second down and 6 NAU.
Lewis checking off as Smith and Robinson show blitz. Now they drop off.
Lewis to throw. Overthrows Jesus Reyes at the near side. Coverage by Chris Cook.
And pressure by Joe O'Brien and Travis Thompson. That was the key in the first half.
Bronco defensive line beginning to assert itself the last week and a half, game and a half. We'll see what they do the rest of this half. Third down and 6 now for the Lumberjacks from their 23-yard line, trying to get something going in their first possession here in the second half. We're tied at 14.
Jarris King now in at defensive left end for the Broncos.
Lewis checking off. The Broncos show blitz, and now the backers drop into coverage. Joe O'Brien had to circle around Lewis, couldn't get him, and Lewis comes across the 30 for first down yardage.
Running for his life, and that credit to Bronco pass coverage. Jason Payne playing in place of DeJuan Miller's been doing a great job back there. Unfortunately, Lewis escaped for the first down on that play.
Joe O'Brien have to loop around. A good job by the blocker, and now Lewis knows he's in deep trouble if he doesn't get moving. He gets a good block again on Joe O'Brien and gets a first down out to the 30. Checking off at the line of scrimmage. Broncos show blitz, now retreat. Torrey outside. Chris Cook will have to get him, and does, inside the Bronco territory at the 47-yard line. He broke containment and picked up 23 yards.
You can see Broncos staying in a 4-man rush. Just great blocking that time by the Lumberjacks, allowing Torrey to hit the corner. Doesn't have the blazing speed, but he's tough to bring down. He's a bull, and Chris Cook does the job. Dan Finn especially with a great block on that play.
First down, Jacks. Torrey had 32 yards rushing in the first half, picked up 23 on that play. Play clock now at 5. Lewis gets it off to the near side. Alex Calderwood hit immediately and brought down by Jason Payne.
NAU used the no huddle on its first 2 possessions.
Gain of,
and then went back to the huddle offense. Now they're trying to start the third period with the no huddle and having success. It gives the Broncos great difficulty in making any defensive changes.
A gain of 5 now, an official timeout at the center of the field, and it looks like Travis Thompson has some sort of an equipment problem. He was grabbing at his face mask and has to go out for a play, replaced by Matt Weston.
Or it may be an open cut. An open cut results in a player having to leave for at least 1 play.
Second down and 5. A reminder, Sisters, normally seen in this time slot, will be shown here on Channel 7 tomorrow at 3 p.m. Appreciate your patience with the preemption necessary to bring the football game to Boise Valley fans tonight. The Broncos trying to continue an unbeaten season. Claude Torrey to the Bronco 40, and it'll be 3rd and short. Thompson has been administered to whatever was necessary, and he is back now, replacing Matt Weston.
Lewis, when he comes up to the line in the no huddle, he audibles the first time and then very often has been changing the play after the first audible.
3rd and a long 2 yards for Northern Arizona. Long count.
Ryan Smith creeping up. Lewis sees it, checks off.
Perhaps trying to draw the Broncos offside. Play clock at 3 as the ball is snapped. And Lewis now with a quick hitter and the completion to Ryan Hodgson.
Hodgson likes to go over the middle, and he gets another NAU first down. The Lumberjacks started on their own 19. They're down to the Bronco 33.
Tim Foley on now in nickel defensive coverage, replacing Cliff Robinson. First down, NAU from the Bronco 33. Again, Lewis changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Play clock at 5. Claude Torrey breaking it outside and lost his balance and went down at the 31.
I don't know if he tripped over tight end Ryan Hodgson, who was fanning out. He ended up under the near 300-pound body of Sione Fafita.
Not where you want to be. The sophomore out of Corvallis.
One of 6 true freshmen who had to play for Boise State last year.
Second and 8. Approaching the 11-minute mark of this 3rd quarter. NAU has had the ball since receiving the kickoff. Lewis now had to throw quickly as Stephon Reed was barreling in on him and taking him down even as he was releasing the ball. So it'll be 3rd and 8.
Broncos brought 6. 4 defensive linemen. You see the blitzers, Stephon Reed and Keith Walk Green.
Just too many people there for the offensive blockers to handle.
So a 3rd and 8 as Boise State tries to turn around its 3rd quarter fortunes of 1994.
And they're just on the verge of field goal range for Kevin O'Leary. If they were unsuccessful here without gaining any yardage, they'd spot the ball for a 48-yard attempt. Lewis under pressure, throws quickly. Caught, no. Incomplete at the far side. Ruled having skipped. That's Rod Alexander, senior out of San Diego.
And it was Keith Walk Green who forced the low throw. A lot of hurried passes on both sides tonight of the football. When you have to hurry, you can't plant and heave.
At this time, but all O'Leary please report to the Lumberjack in the south end zone. All footballers please report to the Lumberjack in the south end zone.
Old 67 here. Got to figure out where to go.
He'll be in motion. Kick is up. No good.
That was Art McDonald, who just kind of went out and stood there. I assume that it will be a legal procedure, too many men in the backfield.
You get out there and at 6'4", 280, try to look inconspicuous. 10 yards from anybody.
Illegal procedure against Northern Arizona.
Broncos decline it and take possession.
So the Bronco defense holds on possession number 1 here.
Illegal procedure on the offense, declined, first down.
Illegal procedure against Lumberjacks. Decline.
Lumberjacks drove 49 yards, but came up empty, and now Tony Hildy gets to go to work again. Casey Adams, 3 wide receivers.
First possession of the second half for the Broncos. Hildy was 8 of 21 for 116 yards in the first half, 2 touchdowns, both in the second quarter.
Keying on Casey Adams.
Casey Adams had on 10 carries 62 yards with a long gainer of 31 in that first half. So coming into the game, he'd averaged 132 yards a game, leading the Big Sky in rushing, and he's just about half his average through those first 2 quarters. Gain of just 1, 2nd and 9.
Corey Johnson now in at fullback, and Adams slotted.
Hildy wanted to go across the middle to Adams and couldn't get rid of the ball, and Hildy goes down, sacked at the 20-yard line.
That one going to Adams all the way, but he was well covered by Raina Stewart. Stewart picked him up as he slotted right, came across the middle. Hildy desperately wanted to get the ball to him, too. You look at Tony looking over the middle all the way, and then finally being brought down by Dennis Wolfman.
First sack of the night against Hildy, who was dragged down in his own backfield 13 times by Northern Arizona last season at Broncos Stadium. 3rd down and 20. Broncos from their own 21-yard line. Hildy to Akibi, who can't hang on, and we must mention, we were advised by Sports Information Director Max Corbett at halftime that Ryan Akibi is really tender in the left rib cage area. He took a big pop on the near sideline in that first half. It was very painful at halftime, and it's going to be his decision how much and when he plays. He's out there. Don't know whether the ribs had an effect on that pass or not, but he was unable to hang on. Danny Weeks now standing inside his own 10, ready to kick it away to Alex Calderwood. Weeks with a high wobbling spiral. Calderwood with a fair catch at the Northern Arizona 40. 9:21 left in the third. Lumberjacks back with possession when we return. Field position here in this period. They've just moved up 20 yards after punting with their first, or missing the field goal with their first possession. They start at the 40-yard line, basically because of the sack suffered by Tony Hildy in the Broncos' first opportunity. Tied at 14. Handoff inside. Lautori is grabbed and brought down by middle linebacker Brian Smith.
Well, you got to be a sure tackler on a play like that. There for the Broncos.
Smith, a 5'10", 215-pound junior out of Tacoma, came into the game the leading tackler for the Broncos with 38. We're under 9 minutes now in the third.
Jack's trying to get the running game going with the counter tray. Broncos doing a good job.
2nd and 9. Lewis with a rolling pocket. Finds his man, Jesus Reyes, at the far side. Stayed in bounds after the tackle. Took it up to the 49-yard line, and it'll be 3rd and 1.
Another generous spot, too, as Keith Block Green made the stop. He's a quick guy. Freshman from Chino, California, Jesus Reyes. 5'8", 165. One of those classic, dangerous Big Sky receivers.
Big play now for the Bronco defense and the Northern Arizona offense. 3rd and 1. There was movement. Now, who's it going to be charged against as Sione Fafita jumps across the line of scrimmage? The NAU offensive line applauding, thinking they did not entice him across.
If the NEU offensive line moved after Sione entered the neutral zone, then the penalty is against the Broncos, and it appears that's what happened.
5 yard line, the Broncos takes the ball with
So that gives Northern Arizona
First down.
Lumberjacks pick up the first down by penalty. 8:03 left in the third. Still tied at 14. Lewis now with 3 wide receivers, talking to the 2 guys on the near side who have single coverage. Oh, Lewis was smashed as he released that ball. Boy, Chris Cook really drove him into the turf.
Broncos did a great job that time of disguising their coverage. That time they weren't showing blitz. They were laying back. Lewis may have changed the play, and then the Broncos brought 6. There you see Stephon Reed, and Chris Cook will enter the picture as well. Here's Cook with the lane, and boom.
He just barely got that ball away. Cook, a 6'1", 186-pound senior out of Los Angeles by way of West LA Junior College. 2nd and 10 from the Bronco 47. Handoff to Claude Torrey. Has some room to the 40, 39.
Good call on a passing down. The draw gains 7.
It'll be 3rd and a long 2. 7:20 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. A long first half, nearly 2 hours in length, which is going to mean late time for our News Center 7 weekend night report crew. Lewis now on. Down, and unfortunately, Chris Cook put a hand on the defender's shoulder pad.
Chris Cook with it on the shoulder of Mason Hess, the tight end. Hess running an out route just over where he needed to be for the first down. So they'll mark that from the line of point of infraction, or rather from the line of scrimmage. 15 yards.
You were right the first time. From the point of infraction, 15 yards. Why then did they move it 4?
They declined the penalty. If they had taken the penalty, they would have had 15 yards from.
I'm guaranteeing you this is one of the most bizarre evenings I've ever experienced watching a football game.
Why would you decline
a penalty that would give you a first down?
I mean, they got the first down.
They had the ball at the 39-yard line. This is really bizarre. Nebraska whipping Wyoming. A tougher game than many would have predicted.
Not exactly whipping.
Stanford all over, Notre Dame all over Stanford. Not as close as the score would indicate. Washington was in a little bit of a struggle with UCLA for a while. Now it is marked first down from the 36-yard line. Lewis to throw. Rolls away from pressure. Caught on the rollout by Travis Thompson. He rolled away from Joe O'Brien, and Thompson quick enough to catch him.
That's a big stop, too. A missed tackle there would have been another 10 yards for the elusive Jeff Lewis.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. Clock moving at 6:38. Washington State gives up its first touchdown of the season in Game 4, and it proves fatal. Tennessee winning in Knoxville. Southern Cal trailing Oregon in the 3rd quarter at LA. Colorado on a field goal at the gun, beating Texas in Austin. Great game. Boy, we watched the finish of that on satellite up here this afternoon, having dinner before the game. Longhorns gave them all they wanted, and a great testament to and performance by the offensive team from Texas, coached by Gene Dahlquist, the former BSU offensive coordinator. Timeout on the field. 6:15 left, 3rd quarter, in a tie game. Candidates for governor stand on pressing issues facing Idaho Join moderator Dee Sarton as Bat Rankin and Echo Hawk answer questions from a panel of Idaho journalists and from each other Wednesday at 9 Mountain Time. Right here on Channel 7. 2nd and 10, NAU. Jeff Lewis to throw. Pass hit him right in the numbers, and Rod Alexander couldn't hang on, and he may never get out.
Good coverage initially by Rasheed Gale. And Jeff Lewis looking for the slant all the way to Alexander. Alexander finally broke free and was wide open.
Those kind are extremely embarrassing. This guy's a senior.
Great protection this time by the NAU offensive line, and there you see a chance for a catch and another 7 or 8 yards.
Those are drive killers. 6:11 to play, third quarter. NAU now with 3rd and 10 from the Bronco 36-yard line, and the BSU defense with a big play here could dodge the bullet. Lewis, quick throw, knocked down at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
Joe O'Brien and Travis Thompson were in there. And Keith Green may have been the man who got the hand on it.
Another great surge by the center of the Bronco defensive line, really making the difference there.
And the blitzing. They're picking their spots in blitzes. They have about 8 different blitz packages in for tonight's game.
So Kevin O'Leary standing at midfield to kick it away, and a pop-up punt.
And away from it, white shirts.
Oh, and NAU gets a fortunate bounce. Casey Adams saves disaster. Probably would have run another 10 yards on him. Boy, perhaps even hit somebody unaware it was coming.
Is that a gamble?
Timeout on the floor. 5:56 remaining in the third. Still tied at 14.
John and Liz Burrows from Chandler, Arizona here tonight rooting for the Broncos. They say hello to family and friends in Boise. Kind of feel like Harry Carey there. Former Boise.
First down Broncos from the 14-yard line.
Oh, Casey almost got into the proverbial secondary there. As it is, a 6-yard gain for the junior from Oakland.
Ball out across the 20, and Adams comes up limping, and Willie Bowens quickly onto the field.
Boy, there's one guy you don't want to see hurt if you're a Bronco fan.
You just keep waiting for him to pop one. Of course, Willie Bowens capable of that as well. He came into the game with 174 yards in 28 carries. Nearly 100 last week in the win over Liberty. Hildy with a throwback to Bowens, who's got blockers in front. Couldn't get by him.
Oh. He needed to get by one man, and that was Josh Packer, middle linebacker. Sure tackle by Packer, saved maybe not 6, but a lot.
Bronco coach is really upset on the far sideline, and I'm not sure whether Bowens ran the wrong way or the blocker didn't get his job done.
There's the block by John Miller.
Well, I think that Dave Stroms will most upset with Miller coming off his block and the defender able to make the tackle.
Great call. Roll right and a throwback screen to Willie Bowens.
Hildy hands inside to Bowen. Short yardage.
You know, there are flags on the far side. I think Raina Stewart may have hit Jared Howski out of bounds, and there are flags on the field. I think we have a personal foul call on Northern Arizona.
Let's see,
because Howski ended up all the way against the cement over at the wall, and I saw flags go up. I couldn't believe Howski was over there.
Casey Adams is back now, replacing Willie Bowens.
That is what it is. Another personal foul against Northern Arizona.
Steve Axman really upset on the near sideline. You can be too emotional, even in this game, which demands emotion.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, first down.
Unlike the NFL, they don't give you details on infractions in college ball, but those were the details. Raina Stewart away from the play, hitting Jared Howski out of bounds and setting him into the cement and getting a flag thrown and moving the Broncos all the way out to the 43-yard line.
Yeah, that's a 1-yard dive off tackle that turns into a 15-yard first down gain.
62.
First down Broncos now outside their 43.
Broncos stack their tight ends, Zimmerman and Matashak. Now they shift. Corey Johnson in again at fullback for the Broncos.
Now Johnson and Casey Adams split. Michael Richmond, the intended receiver, on the near sideline, and he was effectively shielded away from that ball by Rod Matthews, the cornerback on the near side.
Hildy once again throwing the fade away from the pressure. It worked on a touchdown to Jared Howsky in the second quarter.
2nd and 10 Broncos from the 43.
It was played well by Rod Matthews. Hildy now 9 of 23, 123 yards and the 2 touchdowns. No interceptions.
And that's really the key.
Boy, is it.
Casey Adams pops it outside, gets to the 45, and no more. Gain of 3.
That was a
mark it almost to the 46.
It was a good call against the blitz, a play that had a chance with one more block. Broncos have really prepared well for this game. There were things that they couldn't control. Penalties and bad decisions.
Got a lumberjack down on the far side, so we've got an injury timeout on the field. Remind you again about the NFL game tomorrow. NFL Live at 10:30 in the morning, and the Seahawks at Indianapolis against the Colts at 11 a.m. We'll take a full timeout here. 4:02 left in the third. Broncos with a big 3rd and 8 when we come back. The field, senior defensive tackle Chris West, number 78, out of Glendora, California. And as he leaves, could be a big hole in that defensive line because he's replaced by 6'5" true freshman Joe Kelly, number 98. We'll see if the Broncos try and are able to exploit that.
And now the defense finally gets this crowd into the game for one of the few times tonight. Really nice homecoming crowd here in Flagstaff that has been a little bit too nice, according to the home team Lumberjacks. I don't think they've whistled, but we got to get our red cap to whistle things back in because we're ready to go here. Yeah, the head referee talking to Pokey Allen on the far sideline. The other thing that hurts with Chris West leaving the game for Northern Arizona, he's really been a leader on this defense, a playmaker, real underrated guy.
The Broncos with 3rd and 8 from their 45-yard line, and lots of movement now among the offense. Tony Hildy rolling right and picked off. Hildy makes the tackle, but not until Jeff Berkman returns it inside the Bronco 40.
Boy, that one hurts. That's the first interception thrown by Tony Hildy since the Cal State Northridge game. And it sets Northern Arizona up with 3:45 left in the third period. So multiple shifts. Hildy rolls right. No pressure this time. Throws off balance. Just a bad throw. Threw it right into the coverage of Jeff Berkman,
who returns it to the 37-yard line, where NAU has a chance to grab at least temporary control of this football game.
Hildy goes off by himself way down at the 30-yard line to think it on. Now we see Brian Galbraith for the first time tonight, who is actually the backup to Len Rainey. Comes in with 214 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He's a sophomore from Phoenix.
Averaging 53.5 yards a game. 5 yards per carry. Has scored a couple of touchdowns. We're closing in on 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Gain of 3. 2nd and 7. Ball at the Bronco 34-yard line. Lewis wants to go deep. Jason Payne is beaten by Rod Alexander, but the ball badly overthrown, and it'll be 3rd and 8.
Alexander streaking as Broncos were bringing pressure, but Lewis had just enough time to set up and throw that one. Just overthrew Alexander, and now a 3rd and long for the Lumberjacks. I, for one, didn't think that the game would go this deep into the third quarter with only 14 points on both sides of the scoreboard.
Yeah, these are two very productive offenses, at least through their first 4 games. Broncos averaging 37 plus, NAU averaging 43 plus. Jeff Lewis to throw. Pass caught, fumbled. Is it recovered? Or is it incomplete?
It was a
I haven't seen an incompletion signal, and the Broncos appear to have the football. And do. Boise State gets the turnover after the completion to Ryan Hodson. And we'll take another look here.
Great protection this time. Lewis has all day. Gets it to Hodson, but the hit by Stephon Reed, I believe it is Keith Watt Green making the recovery. Here you see it from the end zone. Hodson pelted by Reed.
Boy, that
and
was
the Broncos
a big-time
take
hit.
over. And that was a key recovery.
First big play this year for Keith Watt Green. And the Broncos now get the ball back on the turnover with possession at their 25-yard line. Hildy handing inside to Casey Adams, and a gain of maybe a yard.
NAU shifting and stunting most of the time on the defensive line. The time they shifted and stunted into the right seam and bottled up Casey Adams. Best job that anyone's done against Casey this season, at least to this point. Less than 2.5 minutes left in the third period. Akibi comes out of the game. Wide receivers are Schrack, Richmond, and Howski.
Second and a long 9. Hildy with the fade. Ball thrown well out of bounds, incomplete, intended for Lee Schrack, and it'll be third and a long 9.
Probably a good decision. Good coverage over there by Thomas Jeter. Thomas Jeter, a backup cornerback who did not make the trip to Bozeman last week, but a key in the nickel package. It's probably all Tony could do, so it's a key third and 10.
2:06 left here in the third quarter, still tied at 14. Hildy gets a big rush, gets the pass away. It's completed to Howski, who carries it out to the 35 and very close to a first down. Very close.
It is right on the button as far as the location of the chains.
We'll just have to see what kind of a spot the Broncos got. We'll give you another look at it. Howski makes a great cut.
Northern Arizona rushed 6 that time. Howski fortunately had the ball in his left hand. That gained him another yard, having the ball in his left hand when he hit the turf.
As it is, I think he got a fortunate spot. We'll see if it's enough to get the first down.
His back came down at the 33.5. The ball came down at the 34.5.
Looks like he's good. Yes, boy, half the football.
First down, Broncos.
So the Broncos keep the drive going. 1:56 left, third quarter.
Both these offenses trying to catch both these pressure gamble defenses at the right time. The Broncos gambling a lot more tonight than they have at any time previous. On defense, I'm talking about.
Hildy now with 3 wide receivers to the top of your screen, and Casey Adams behind him. Quarterback keeper, and Hildy has to fight to get back to the line of scrimmage. Not sure he was able.
An option with no options for Tony Hildy.
Second and 11, a loss of a yard.
Al Borges communicating with Tom Osborne in the Boise State coach's box, calling the plays. They have a play for every situation.
Again, the 3 wide receivers at the top of the screen. Richmond flanked by Schrack and Howski. Middle screen attempted to Richmond, who can't hang on.
Well, that should have been a late hit on Matthew Moody, the free safety. They rule it as
not a late hit.
Unimpedable progress.
Here's another look.
Middle screen set up to Michael Richmond, although had he caught that ball, I don't think it was going anywhere.
All the late action happened off your screen. So it'll be 3rd and 11. Final minute of the 3rd quarter, 59 seconds. Richmond is a 5'9" junior out of Stockton, California, by way of Butte Junior College. Hildy going far side. Richmond cut inside. Penalty flag in the Bronco backfield, and it looks like perhaps another infraction.
Yeah, there's no
intentional grounding.
He threw that into row 1.
But the referee signaled against NAU.
Well,
as if it were roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer. Because that ball went into row 1. It went right through a Bank of America banner. With special acknowledgement to our sponsor, U.S. Bank of Idaho.
This crowd...
Roughing the passer on the defense.
This crowd will go nuts on this. That had no chance of being completed.
Boy, how many personal fouls is NAU going to give Boise State? How many second chances is NAU going to give Boise State?
Yeah, you can't blame the officials for that. That's just a poor decision by a pass rusher in not pulling up once the ball's gone. Steve Axman doesn't see it quite that way and is really exercising himself at referee Dick Brodigan.
Broncos once again stack their tight ends, now shift with Zimmerman and Matashok to the left side.
First down at the Bronco 49.
Hildy checking off with 3 left on the play clock.
NAU assistant coaches on the near sideline trying to get the crowd in it. Hildy goes to the far side, incomplete.
Intercepted.
Oh my. Carried out of bounds.
Intercepted by free safety Derek Williams.
He was moving away from action so quickly, nobody even had a clue he had the ball until he turned around. Williams' second interception.
Richmond fighting back for the ball. The ball goes out of the arms of Thomas Jeter and into the arms of Derek Williams, who had an interception at Bronco Stadium last year. Tony Hildy suddenly has thrown 2 interceptions here in the 3rd quarter.
That's a tough one, although it is forced into coverage there. And so NAU gets the ball at the 29-yard line with 48 seconds left in the 3rd.
A sideline warning issued once again to Northern Arizona. Back off the sideline.
And a timeout called by Boise State.
Sideline warning on Boise State. I don't think he signaled the Boise State sideline.
Well, they took a timeout from them. On the scoreboard, didn't they?
Now, Boise State still shows 3 up there.
Oh, you're right. It's in Northern Arizona's side. 48 seconds left in the 3rd. Pass incomplete.
Both quarterbacks struggling right now.
No question about that.
Both defensive lines pressuring with linebacker and safety blitzes. Both teams trying to outsmart the other. This game has really become a chess match here in the 3rd quarter. And a stunningly low-scoring one at that. Lewis with Galbraith in the game again at tailback.
The toss to Galbraith, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. A penalty flag in the NAU backfield.
Sione Fafita celebrating as if there may be a hold on this one.
He jumped up pointing at somebody in that offensive line group.
Here you get a look at Brian Galbraith. Just deciding where the infraction occurred.
Right there. Thank you. It is a hold against Northern Arizona.
That's 10 yards back from the 27-yard line, so that'll make it 2nd and about 22.
Got holding on the offense. 2nd down.
Interesting ball game. We have seen so many things this season so far.
Tonight.
And tonight.
Most of them tonight. But still, 35 seconds left in this 3rd quarter. 2nd and 22. Lumberjacks at their 17-yard line. Lewis now rolling with protection, now cutting back against the flow, and hit hard by Brian Smith as he crossed the 20. I mean, he was tough.
I don't know if that play was designed as a running play, but Lewis was thinking run all the way.
That is the toughest 4 yards he'll gain in a while.
And that is also the end of the third quarter. Now he cuts it back. I think he was thinking run all the way. And here comes Brian Smith. That looks much like the hit that Tony Hildy took against Liberty last week.
The Broncos and the Lumberjacks with 15 minutes to play here in Flagstaff. Flagstaff, Arizona for the start of the 4th quarter in this Big Sky football game between the Boise State Broncos and Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, the game that will not end. We've played what normally is conclusion time, 3 hours. This one's got quite a ways to go. Jeff Lewis to throw. Ball caught short of the first down yardage by Chris Warner as he rolls across the 35, and it would appear that Northern Arizona will have
that hit that Jeff Lewis took with Brian Smith a moment ago. I mentioned Hildy's hit. That, of course, was against Nevada 2 weeks ago. Hildy's neck still sore from it, but
Lewis is a little wobbly as he comes off to the near side. Casey Adams standing at his 25-yard line, and he will fair catch at the 27. So the Broncos with good field position as the defense holds again
at the 27-yard line.
And the offense returning to the field.
Well, the Broncos came out of the third quarter unscathed defensively and unproductive offensively. So nothing ventured, nothing gained, and the fourth quarter has been a little bit kinder to the Broncos, especially in crucial situations. Witness the Northeastern game, and the Cal State Northridge game, and the Nevada game.
A reminder, you're watching KTVB Channel 7 in Boise. The new Center 7 Weekend Night Report follows, but a full quarter of action still to come your way here on Channel 7. First down Broncos from their 27-yard line. Tony Hildy rolling away from pressure. Randy Matashak caught and fighting to the 31-yard line. He made something out of nothing there.
Boy, James Taylor on the stop.
For the Lumberjacks, James Taylor.
Broncos will be home to play Weber State in homecoming next Saturday night, and 2 weeks from tonight, a bit earlier start from Holt Arena in Pocatello. The in-state rivalry renewed as the Broncos visit the Idaho State Bengals, who were humiliated today by Idaho 70-21 in Moscow. 2nd and 7 for the Broncos now, both just outside their 30. Tony Hildy doesn't like what he sees and has to waste one of 3 timeouts available to the Broncos. So each team will have 2 now for the final 13:43 of this one. Fourth quarter, as the Broncos, Akibi Lumberjacks are tied at 14.
Ryan Akibi still out of the game.
Mentioned earlier, Akibi took a big hit in the first half. Bruised ribs. Michael Richmond can't hang on.
Ball thrown a little bit behind him, but Michael's got to start making some catches. Nobody knows it better than him. He is replacing Ryan Akibi right now, who has sore ribs. Extremely sore ribs. Now Ryan, no, that's Houski coming back. No, Ryan is coming back to the game.
Akibi and Houski back, replacing Matashak and Corey Johnson. So the Broncos now going with 4 wide receivers.
NAU trying to pick everything up here.
3rd and 7. Hildy with a quick toss. Incomplete. Contact on the far side, but no foul, and the Broncos will have to kick it away.
Well, that fade has only worked once tonight. That was for a touchdown to Jared Houski, but Broncos trying to go with the fade to negate the pressure being applied by NAU, and it is not connecting.
Danny Weeks now kicking to Alex Calderwood. Big rush. Weeks gets it away. It's a beauty. Calderwood will fair catch at the 22-yard line. 13:26 to play as the NAU offense returns to the field. And it has been a struggle for both offenses in the third quarter and the first minute and a half of this fourth.
Surprisingly so.
A couple teams who have a chance to take a big step for themselves in the Big Sky race. Mention again the new Center 7 Weekend Night Report with John Dobkin, Bob Anthony, and Ed Vining follows the conclusion of this game.
They are patiently waiting as we speak.
Well, some maybe. Some maybe not so patiently. Jeff Lewis, downfield, intercepted by Rashid Gale. His third in the last 2 weeks. 5th of the season, and the Broncos have a chance to do some damage as Gale returns it to the 23-yard line.
Pokey Allen said at halftime, we got to get some turnovers. Broncos gave up 2 in the third quarter. Now they get 1 of their own in the fourth. The first interception thrown by Jeff Lewis in 1994.
And Rashid Gale was just in perfect position, played it well. Great
Absolutely.
hands.
Kind of sat back and waited, read it, got it, puts the Broncos on the 23-yard line of Northern Arizona.
Crowd starting to come alive now, realizing the importance of this possession. Tony Hildy hands to Casey Adams, a little hole, and he takes it inside the 20, a gain of 4 to the 19-yard line.
I'll take that any time on first down from KC. Corey Johnson continues to play fullback for the Broncos in place of Jermaine Hudson.
Less than 13 minutes now, and the clock moving. Tight end Bernie Zimmerman in motion. Broncos hand to Casey Adams again. Pops it outside. 15. Dragged down at the 11. Boy, he was just a step from going in.
Great job inside by the Bronco offensive line. We don't get a chance to mention them much. Paul Kaufman, the center. Alex Toyos, the right guard. John Miller's been going all the way in place of Martez Venus, who had the flu this week. Jordy LePayne is at right tackle. Keith Jeffrey at left tackle.
That last touchdown-saving tackle made by Derek Williams. He's had a couple big plays for NAU here in the second half. Broncos now with a first down at the 11. Casey Adams with some blockers. Got the big man Jeffrey in front of him. Hounds it to the 4-yard line.
Boy, Keith out there lumbering along with John Miller.
You get those two big horses in front of you, you got some room to run.
Boy. And Casey is playing in pain. He actually has been playing in pain all season since two-a-days, and he is going to be playing in pain all season.
Now the officials conferring at the 5-yard line. Adams picked up about 7 yards on that play.
A hold against Boise State.
Oh boy.
That's why John Miller was pleading his case down there. Didn't see the flag, blocked from our view, and kind of wadded up down there.
Holding on the offense from the spot, 10 yards. Repeat first down.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 21-yard line, 22-yard line. First down. 1st and 21. Broncos send the 3 wide men to the top of the screen. Schrack outside Akibi with Howski in the slot.
Hildy's checking off. 7 on the play clock.
Hildy with a quick toss, incomplete. Another flag in the Bronco backfield.
Looks like it might be another hold on Boise State. Personal foul against Northern Arizona.
My goodness, how many mistakes have they made in that
That
category?
is about 7 personal fouls against the Lumberjacks.
They have a personal foul on the defense. First down.
Well, it gets a little intense in there when those big guys battle. Excuse me.
That also gives Boise State a 1st and goal at the NAU 8-yard line. .11:44 to play.
Adams cuts in to the 5. He'll score. Touchdown, Broncos. High steps it through the end zone. Casey Adams gives the Broncos their first lead of the night.
A classic Casey Adams touchdown on the sweep right. Broncos pulling Keith Jeffrey and Alex Toyos effectively. They take their first lead of this ball game at the 11:37 mark of the 4th quarter.
And Greg Erickson makes it 21-14 with 11:37 to play.
He just ducked.
Larry Neely and Tom Scott with you again. 11:37 left 4th quarter. Greg Erickson about to kick it off for the Boise State Broncos, who've just taken their first lead on Northern Arizona here in the walk-up Sky Dome. And Erickson with a high kick taken by Jesus Reyes at the goal line, and he's going to go a ways. Erickson to get him, slowed him down enough. He's going to get some help. Great job by Erickson, and a great return by Jesus Reyes really ignites this crowd.
Broncos were down very quickly. Once Reyes got past the first wave, there was nothing but green ahead of him. Erickson squared off. Rashid Gale had to finish it off. A great field position for NAU.
At the Bronco 40, it'll be 1st and 10 for Northern Arizona.
And just when special teams had gotten under control,
Torrey trying to get outside, has to cut back in and picks up just 2, maybe 3.
Travis Thompson and Stephon Reed on the stop for the Broncos. Stephon Reed playing a great game tonight. Broncos 3 plays, 23 yards after the Rashid Gale interception. 8-yard run by Casey Adams. His 6th rushing this year, his 10th overall in 5 games.
That drive obviously helped by the personal foul call against Northern Arizona when Boise State faced 2nd and 21. Jeff Lewis to throw. Got his tight end open over the middle. Fumbled, and the Broncos were going to get it in the end zone for a touchback.
Oh, what?
Mason Hess had a big gain, was hit hard, coughed it up, and Rashid Gale covered it in the end zone.
Hess is hurt. 2 huge turnovers. Hess goes uncovered. They like to pick on the tight end or pick on the linebackers with the tight end. He had outrun Brian Smith, but there's the hit by Keith Walk-Green. Smith is able to redeem himself in the end zone, and the Broncos take over at the 20.
It is, in fact, Brian Smith who recovers it in the end zone for a touchback. And the NAU defense late arriving on the field and cheered by the crowd. They're going to have to make another big stand as the Broncos have an opportunity to really burn some clock now. First down at the 20. Casey Adams, he could go all the way. 40, 30, 20. Casey Adams scores untouched, and the Broncos have opened a 2-touchdown lead.
That is the longest run in Boise State history.
80 yards from scrimmage after the fumble recovery by Brian Smith. The Broncos have stunned this crowd, and a number of them have left their seats headed for the parking lot. Shocking, isn't it? 10:31 to play. Look at him cut and look at him run.
You get him in the secondary. He gets right in the face of a defender before he makes his move. Right in the face, leaving defenders helpless.
Greg Erickson. Conversion is perfect, and with 10:31, the Broncos lead 28-14. The guy who's written a lot of lines in that record book just saw one of them erased.
Cedric Minner. He did it in 1978. Chris Jackson in 87. Greg Harrison in 83. They're all in second place now.
And Greg Erickson drives one through the end zone, and Northern Arizona will have to go 80 yards if they're going to score and get back in this one. Casey Adams stunning this homecoming crowd. We haven't had yet an announced attendance total, but I'm going to guess at about 10, 11, 12,000 in that vicinity. Well, the Bronco defense just kept hanging in there and hanging in there, and there's still a long way to go, but they were able to hold their own through a very frustrating third quarter. And in fact, the first half, when the offense and special teams were self-destructing to the point that they almost played themselves out of this game entirely. They came from 14 down, have scored the last 28 points.
It is imperative now that the Broncos not relax. Here's another. Not been a good night for the special teams, and they'll be working hard this week. You can bet on that. But Casey Adams, 19 carries, 175 yards, and a touchdown, the longest run in Boise State history. That's now a collegiate career high for Casey Adams at 175, eclipsing the 172 in the opener against Northeastern. Now this kick will be returnable, and you remember what happened last time with Jesus Reyes.
Greg Erickson from the 30, and he rips this one into the end zone, and it will not come out. I spoke it too soon. The little man has done his job tonight.
Greg Erickson, the junior from Redmond, Washington, understudy to Mike Black in 1991 after walking on the Bronco program, and he has been getting better every week. So it's time for the Bronco defense to forget complacency, forget the 2-touchdown lead, and play the way it's been playing all night. Across the defensive line, Shepard, Thompson, Fafita, and O'Brien.
First and 10 NAU. 10:31 to play. Boy, a lot has happened in the last couple of minutes. After a quiet third quarter offensively, Lewis rolling away from pressure, gets it to Jesus Reyes. Boy, he is a dangerous and explosive receiver himself. He's an emotional guy trying to get this team and this crowd fired up.
They thought that Jesus was calling for a personal foul, but he was merely excited over the 10-yard gain, and NAU will go to the no huddle now for reasons other than fooling Boise State. They're trying to conserve clock now, trailing by 2 touchdowns.
First down outside the 30. Lewis goes outside. Pass caught by Ryan Hodson.
Hodson, the backup tight end to Mason Hess.
Gain of 4. Tonight's attendance on homecoming evening here, 12,865.
Kind of disappointing. They expected to sell the place out.
Boy, it was a gorgeous day here. I'm sure that a lot of people maybe got caught out of town and changed their plans when the weather was so gorgeous. It was about 70 degrees. Tom and I took a drive down to Sedona, about a half-hour away, and saw the Red Rocks down there. What a gorgeous area that is. Ball tipped and incomplete. It was knocked up and really up for grabs, but nobody close from either team.
Now a big third down play for the Lumberjacks. Jeff Lewis getting better protection now, but the Broncos not blitzing. Broncos staying in the base defense. The tip by Chris Cook. Jesus Reyes couldn't get around Tim Foley to come back. Boy, Reyes, you're going to hear his name a lot over the next 4 years. even after the Broncos go to the Big West Conference. He's going to be a player. Arnie Scalio, the Big Sky, calls him a Shalon Baker type, the Montana great, and I would agree with that.
Lewis. Pass caught by Alex Calderwood out to the 44-yard line. And Northern Arizona first down. Clock running now. After they move the chains, it'll start again at 9:59.
Oh, there is, you know, this is the Big Sky. There is plenty of time left in this game, and there's no reason for NAU to panic. They can methodically stick to their game plan, and now it's starting to connect.
What they've got to avoid is the costly penalties. There's the completion to Reyes inside the Bronco 40.
This thing could be 28-21 in a hurry. Broncos have to bear down now.
Little guy having a big night at wide receiver.
They wanted to redshirt Jesus Reyes. Did I mention that? He's just too good to redshirt, much like Tony Hildy and Ryan Akibi last year. Just too good to redshirt.
Well, I think we're all getting a pretty good indication of what they were talking about when they said that. First down from the Bronco 38. Lewis to throw. Cook from behind. Fumble. And a whole bunch of people. Looks like King's got it. Broncos force another turnover. And now many in the crowd will go for the parking lot because they can sense a little wind coming out of the sail.
Broncos got back to their blitzing ways that have been so successful tonight. The initial hit, I believe, by Travis Thompson, and then Jarris King falls on it. And there is a very small contingent of Boise State fans here, including the Bronco volleyball team and head coach Darlene Bailey.
They were losers today in 5 games after losing in 4 at Weber State Thursday night, so a tough weekend for them, but they'll be at home for the first time in the Pavilion next week when Montana State visit. Tony Hildy now in the Bronco offense.
Well, last run was 80 yards for KC. This one minus 2.5, but the 80 still kind of overshadows that. 9 minutes exactly remaining in the game. The Broncos up by 2 touchdowns. Ryan Akibi back in the game with those tender ribs. You mentioned, Larry, that it'll be Ryan's decision whether he plays or not, and as long as it is, he's going to play. You know that.
Well, you're going to reach a point, too, if the Broncos can capitalize on this turnover where the coaches will step in. And now Corey Johnson calls a timeout. Some confusion on the Bronco offense. They'll talk about it. We'll give you a chance to rest up and ready for the final 8:36. After the turnover, and now with 2nd and 12, almost 13 from their own 44-yard line. Leading 28-14 after forcing turnovers and taking advantage here in the 4th quarter. Movement in the offensive line, a procedure penalty likely against Boise State.
2nd and long becomes 2nd and longer. Checking up on Jeff Lewis's night tonight, 23 of 48, 220 yards.
Dead ball. False start on the offense.
1 interception, no touchdowns for Jeff Lewis. Tony Hildy has thrown 2 interceptions, but also had the 2 touchdowns that brought the Broncos back into this game.
And then the 2 late touchdown runs by Casey Adams, giving them their current 14-point advantage. As we close in on 8 minutes to play. Adams content to accept the loss, and it'll be 3rd and long. Should mention we are well beyond the scheduled ending time of this game. The first half went almost 2 hours. The new Center 7 weekend night report with John Dobkin, Bob Anthony, and Ed Vining will follow, and then Saturday Night Live in its entirety.
Bob Anthony, keep updating your temperatures. It's going to be dropping, quite a bit more before you actually go on the air. So
Ed should be able to get all the West Coast football finals in. There may not be a game in America that's still going on when this one ends, because I don't think Hawaii's playing at
Hawaii
home.
playing tonight.
Tony Hildy almost fell down coming away from center, but he did get the handoff to Casey Adams. who gains a yard back, and the Broncos will kick it away on 4th and long.
Broncos not pretty on that possession.
Well, they're able to run 2 minutes off the clock.
That's the important thing. That was the intent.
And Danny Weeks will try to give the Bronco defense good field position.
You know,
certainly they'll be coming after him.
You know, Matashak has an eye on the play clock right now. Still 11 seconds left on it. Matashak will take his time as the up man in calling the signals here.
11 men up for NAU. Weeks drives one at Calderwood, who fields it at the 12. Coverage by Jason Payne, and he's downed at the 14. And Calderwood shaken up on the tackle. He doesn't get up.
Jason Payne's had a good night. Solid night for the Broncos, replacing DeJuan Miller. DeJuan looks to be okay. He's over on the sideline holding his helmet. It's just a change that the Bronco defensive staff decided to make. We'd like to say hi also to Jack Robinson, the owner of Boise Blue and a Bronco booster way back into the BJC days. Jack and his wife in an auto accident last month and recovering and watching the game tonight. And we miss seeing him at the Monday luncheons, and we wish Jack Robinson well.
Oh, yes, and will that Monday luncheon be interesting this week? Milford Terrell has all kinds of fun things planned. The Bronco Athletic Association
Don't talk about
president.
it. Still 6:44 left in the game.
He's already on the phone to Tuxedo Place.
Working on Alex Calderwood.
And you can see clearly the right knee being administered to.
He's been a steady player.
Mike Nesbitt, the trainer there, working over his knee, has been here for a quarter of a century. 1968 graduate of Idaho State, one of a number of veteran trainers. You know, I talked to Gary Craner, the athletic trainer at Boise State for the last quarter century, and he and Nesbitt both inducted into the Athletic Trainers National Hall of Fame this summer. And he said that's the sad thing about leaving the Big Sky. It's going to be great for the athletic program, but it's sad for the athletic department because there's such a veteran group of good friends who've all been together for the better part of 2 decades.
And you feel, you know, we feel that way with the sports information directors and the staffs at the different schools. And here's a look at what happened to Alex Calderwood. Ooh. Ankle got turned, knee got turned the wrong way as Jason Payne brought him down. And Calderwood, great junior out of Denver, came into the game with 6 catches, 3 of them for touchdowns for Northern Arizona.
19-yard average.
At least he's putting a little pressure on. But you and I were talking earlier today about this being our last trip to Flagstaff, and it didn't really hit us till we got down here. This is the last road trip to Northern Arizona, and this is a beautiful place.
Really is gorgeous. Tall timber, 7,000 feet.
Those of you who don't like the growth in Boise, tell them all to move here. They'll love it.
Hour and a half from the Grand Canyon, 2 hours from Phoenix. Jeff Lewis to throw. Oh, off the hands and incomplete of Jose Reyes.
Would have been a tough catch for Jesus Reyes. He was turned the wrong way. And what Lewis obviously has to do now is air the thing out. So
still 6:39 to play. Broncos leading by 2 touchdowns.
Clock will move very slowly when Northern Arizona has the ball and very quickly when the Broncos have the ball. NAU has 2 timeouts left.
Lewis from shotgun formation. High snap, but he gets it down. Penalty flag before the play.
Did the play clock run out?
Could very well have.
It has gotten very quiet here in the sawmill.
We've not heard the chainsaw roar once tonight.
Dead ball. False start on the offense.
In spite of the fact that Northern Arizona enjoyed a very, very productive first quarter. They took advantage of a lot of Bronco mistakes, built a 14-0 lead, and then saw it all unravel in the second quarter.
The Bronco defense, through all that, was very quietly playing well and has been very, very steady tonight. This is a team that should have beaten Nevada in the first game of the season in Reno.
Lewis hit by Joe O'Brien, who drops him at the 1-yard line. side. They wanted to sack, but the safety, the tackle happened at the 1, and O'Brien buried him into the turf.
Tackle for a loss by Joe O'Brien.
Joe's waited a while for that one. His second sack of the season.
Lewis had time. Another coverage sack, you can call it. Give credit to the Broncos secondary. Ronnie Kane, who is an Arizonan who did not make the trip, but it's a backup quarterback for Boise State. It's his birthday today, apparently. We just got a card from his family and friends who came up for the game.
Want to send along the word that they love and miss him. So happy birthday, Ronnie. Great career ahead of him, he hopes. And so do Bronco fans. Lewis to throw. Has Warner at the 19.
But it will be 4th and 4 from the 20. Do you go for it? There's a flag, and it looks like the Broncos are going to get nailed now for what Northern Arizona has been nailed for all night long.
The late hit on the quarterback, and the defensive coaches in frustration on the far side, as NAU's coaching staff has been for the better part of the second half on the near side.
It has been a parade of personal fouls by Northern Arizona tonight. The Broncos got a couple in the first quarter and then settled down.
Roughing the passer on the defense, go from the end of the run, first down.
And the crowd roars after seeing a couple of those from their team tonight.
And again, that ruled a dead ball foul after Warner was knocked out of bounds. They hit on the quarterback, so that's how very late it was.
And they go from the 1 to the 35.
First down, still 5:42. O'Brien had him again, but he got rid of it.
Good job by Lewis to throw at the feet of Claude Torrey.
Lewis pass intended for Claude and Torrey. Ball incomplete. And on the tackle for
Best game of the season by the Bronco defensive line. They've been helped by the play calling of defensive coordinator Tom Mason. And the blitz packages put in by Mason, Barry Sachs, Ron Gould. Great blitz package inserted tonight by the Broncos, and it has really worn down this Northern Arizona offensive line and perhaps even quarterback Jeff Lewis, who's had a great season to this point.
Lewis getting pressure from Jarris King, rolls away from it. King coming hard and going to get him. No, he got away, and it's O'Brien who's going to get the sack.
Did you see Lewis turn around and see Jarris King?
That's a scary moment.
Oh, darn.
I mean, that's a scary moment. For 6'3", 245-pound junior out of Taft Junior College in Southern California, Jarris King.
Yeah, we couldn't see his eyes from up here, but they were probably as big as saucers.
Oh, my. Now he rolls away, and now he wants to throw, and now he knows he's in deep trouble, and O'Brien is the guy in the right spot to get a share of that sack at least.
Hopefully when the coaches grade the film, they'll give half a sack to Jarris King.
5:20, clock moving. 3rd and 19 for Northern Arizona. Lewis gets it away, and it's completed to Rod Alexander out to the 45-yard line.
Boy, they got the first down.
Well, no, they spot it behind the line. We'll see. They may measure. First indication was that the ball was going to be placed across the 45, and now it's placed just short. It'll be close.
Official timeout on the field for a measurement.
Well, we've talked about what a big game this was for both these teams, and the Broncos and their coaches have been very quietly just trying to get a little bit better every week. Not talking a lot about being 4-0, the first time it's happened in 20 years, and of course if they hang on and win this, they'll be 5-0 for only the second time in school history. That happened in 1974.
Jim McMillan's senior year.
What a great team that was, and they played the same exciting kind of offensive football where they aired it out. A lot of talent on the receiving core, quarterback who can get it done. But this team has just methodically gotten a little bit better, made the big plays when they had to, and they're on the verge of making something real big happen this fall. Still with some huge hurdles to clear, and Jason Payne keeping him in bounds.
Oh, he fumbled.
Rod
Alexander fumbled. Chris Cook fell on the ball, but the ball was out of bounds before Cook had possession.
So NAU keeps possession. The clock is stopped at 4:31.
Ron Gould the secondary coach tried to put on a striped shirt over there and signal first down for Boise State.
You know, talking about what's been accomplished here, if in fact complete disaster doesn't occur and this team wins tonight and goes to 5-0.
Ball was clearly out of bounds.
Ball's out of bounds. Bronco coaches wanted it, but no. You would expect the Broncos, the way they're playing, to win the next 3 games. Home against Weber State, which is struggling. At Idaho State. Oh, and a big hit. But Jesus Reyes hangs on.
He wants people to know it. Keith Walk-Green with a great hit. Jesus Reyes, look at that guy. You'll see him in Boise next year.
Just to finish that thought on the Broncos season.
That talk of winning the next 3 is a little scary there, Larry.
Weber State is struggling. Idaho State struggling. Montana State struggling. It wouldn't have seemed to be important to this group of kids the way they played on the road tonight, where they play anybody. Well, so the prospects of seeing Montana the first weekend of November in a battle of unbeatens is certainly very real. Ball badly underthrown by Jeff Lewis, and of course he was facing a big rush that time with both Stephon Reed and Brian Smith blitzing.
Now Northern Arizona is on the Boise State 19 with 4 minutes left. And the clock is moving very slowly.
Second and 10.
Broncos are kind of in the permanent nickel now. Chris Cook reading the offense.
Play clock at 2. Just got it away. Incomplete. Keith Walk-Green in coverage on Jesus Reyes.
And Jeff Lewis hitting himself in the head for missing that connection.
4 minutes exactly remaining here.
He had another opportunity with Rick Pearsall. There you see the final, Northeast Louisiana over Weber State on the Chili scoreboard. Portland State leading Eastern in the 3rd period, 24-21 at Civic Stadium. Sacramento State beating Montana State in Sacto, 30-14. Nevada eking out one on the road at Northern Illinois.
Portland State and Sacramento State, of course, Big Sky wannabes if the Broncos and Vandals leave for the Big West. Reyes makes the catch at the 17 as Lewis manages to get that one off with people hanging all over him.
And now, if NAU's going to have a chance to win this game, it's on the line.
They've got to convert on 4th down. UNLV beating New Mexico State down in Las Cruces.
Oh, my.
Oregon brought Southern Cal back to reality.
Oh, Oregon with a big win over Iowa last week, and now humbling the Trojans at the Coliseum.
Rich Brooks has really been under fire after a shaky start by the Ducks, but that probably will quiet people for a little bit anyway. 4th down and 10.
Oh, and with the clock stopped, Lewis has to use one of the remaining timeouts for the Lumberjacks. On the other hand, a very important play for Northern Arizona, as this one is not over.
Reminder that the Seahawks and Indianapolis Colts are the NFL game on Channel 7 tomorrow. NFL Live at 10:30 in the morning. And football to follow at 11. Tom and I will be joined by Pokey Allen for Broncos Spotlight tomorrow night at 11. Full highlights and the player interviews from tonight's game. And a preview of homecoming against Weber State next week.
Homecoming week coming up. I rather imagine the stadium will be lively next Saturday night.
Got an important political event coming up as well. First, we'll talk about our next telecast, which is 6:30, 2 weeks from tonight in Pocatello at Holt Arena, Idaho State and Boise State.
Remember the last telecast from Pocatello, boy, the Globe of Death.
And Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, the gubernatorial debate. Election day, of course, is just over a month away. And Phil Batt and Larry Echohawk, joined by independent candidate Ron Rankin, to address the pressing issues facing Idaho. D. Sarton moderates the debate from Moscow with a panel of Idaho journalists. Wednesday at 9 here on Channel 7. 4th and 10. Last chance for NAU to hang in this game. Jeff Lewis to throw. Looking to the end zone. Underthrown, incomplete. Broncos take over. Game over. 3:48 to run out, and unless they have terrible misfortune, Jeff Lewis knows as well as anybody that this one is in the books.
Tough loss for NAU after the Lumberjacks start this season, but well, it's not over yet, but it's looking like a victory for Boise State.
You'd have trouble convincing most of the 12,000 plus. So they are making it a quick exit here. The restaurants are going to be full in about 10 minutes.
Not particularly happy, but full. But this game could be a huge launching pad for the Broncos.
Tony Hildy now with 3 minutes and 48 seconds to burn. Casey Adams caught behind the line.
I think they know, the Lumberjacks know who's going to get the ball. And that's a huge loss. You know, Casey may not have his career high. He's been going backwards since his 80-yard touchdown run. That loss all the way back to the 10-yard line. Loss of 9. Scoring recap.
You can see the first quarter 14-0 lead. Broncos now up to the line of scrimmage with 3:14 to play. I guess we'll get the scoring recap later. Casey Adams makes up for the lost yardage.
And 1 or 2 more.
Running it out across the 20.
Martez Bean is now into the game for the Broncos on the offensive line. He's feeling a lot better now as he looks at the scoreboard.
Clock under 3 minutes. Hildy to Howsky, Hildy to Akibi, tied at halftime.
And Casey Adams got touchdowns number 10 and 11 overall of the season. The second one, the longest run in Boise State history, 80 yards. That appears to have put this game away.
3rd down and 9. Hildy eludes the first attempted sack, and he's caught behind the line of scrimmage.
Did I see a flag go down?
You did, at the 16-yard line.
Well, it might be a hold, though.
Hildy brought down for a loss of play. Flag on the play.
Clock stopped with 2:22 remaining.
NAU's still going to get the ball back.
Well, we'll wait to see what the call is here.
Face mask
against the defense. Now, that may not necessarily be a first down.
No, it's incidental. It appears he didn't give the personal foul signal, so it'll be 5 yards.
And the Broncos will still have 3rd down and 5.
And a chance to burn the rest of the clock.
.222.
5-yard mark on the Lumberjack.
Clock now at 2 minutes. Casey Adams dancing around behind the line of scrimmage, not trying to get fancy, just trying to hang on to the football. Northern Arizona calling its last time out with 1:50 to play. Tom Scott heading for the sideline for a quick interview with head coach Pokey Allen at the conclusion of this game. And a reminder that the new Center 7 weekend night report will follow. And then Saturday Night Live in its entirety. Broncos now on 4th down will have to kick it away, and NAU will should get at least good field position Alex Calderwood standing at his 40-yard line, trying to make some magic and give the Lumberjacks a chance here in the late going. They trail by 2 touchdowns with 1:45 to play. Well, the Broncos now have not sent Danny Weeks out. And they will run an offensive play, and so the NAU punt receiving team has come off. 4th and 10. Jared Howski dropping back in the end zone. And the Broncos take a safety. Apparently unwilling to risk the opportunity for NAU to block the punt. Now Danny Weeks will get a free kick from the 20-yard line. Danny Weeks will free kick from the 20-yard line. NAU now with that 2 points, if they can make something happen, they would have an opportunity, if they can score, to onside kick it and win rather than tie. So it's a risky gamble by Bronco coaching staff to yield the 2 points in order to give Weeks the free kick. He'll have to make the most of it, and then the Bronco defense will have to do their job to make this gamble pay off.
And to do the punt after the safety for the Broncos, Danny Weeks, deep for the Lumberjacks, Jesus Reyes, and Claude Torrey.
Weeks with a wobbler that is fair caught at the 28-yard line.
Rand calls for a fair catch at the 28-yard line of Lumberjacks.
1:38 to play. Tom Scott's on the sideline, and I'm not sure whether we've got him in communication yet or not. With 1:38 remaining, I would sense it's a much different mood on the Northern Arizona sideline. They were cautiously optimistic coming in. They were not fooled at all by those who have said Boise State's played a light schedule or this or that, or they are still in the process of making the turnaround of their program. We talked to Scott Pallure before the game, and there's the catch, and Hess fumbles again after the completion, 2nd time. Last one cost NAU a touchdown, and this one ends their last hope at a comeback. But the Northern Arizona coaching staff were well aware of the weapons the Broncos have and the fact that this is a pretty good football team. And I'm not convinced that Hess had complete possession of that ball, but the Broncos come away with it. And they'll now have an opportunity to run 3 into the line and head for the bus.
Larry, I think the weapons that the Broncos brought out tonight really emerged on defense. It's a big, big night for the Bronco defense. Forcing the second half turnovers, shutting out Northern Arizona, except for the safety after the first period. It's a night that the defense really came of age and something they'll try to sustain over the next 3 critical games.
Tony Hildy now will do a kneel down 3 times. The Lumberjacks are out of timeouts and cannot stop the clock themselves. So there's 1, and the ball will be reset, and Hildy will have 25 seconds to put the ball in play. Clock continues to run at 1:15. And there's nothing the Lumberjacks can do about it.
The Lumberjack sideline is very, very disconsolate right now. Some chairs are flying in odd directions.
.50 seconds left as Hildy kneels down again, and it'll be 3rd down, and he'll have to do it one more time.
In particular, I don't have my chart in front of me. I can't remember his name, Larry. Number 54. Number 54 is really screaming at his teammates.
Well, let me see if I can find him on my depth chart.
I think Mason...
because he's not a...
Mason Reese?
No, he's the singer. 54 is Stacy Ellis, an inside linebacker for the record. And that'll do it. 5 seconds left. Tom Scott and the camera headed across the field after Pokey Allen shakes hands with Steve Axman. He'll share his reaction to this one with us. A reluctant Steve Axman. I know how disappointed he has to be, but a great effort by the Broncos. And they remain unbeaten, 5-0, headed home to face Weber State in their homecoming next Saturday night. Let's go to the field now. Tom Scott and Pokey Allen.
Yeah. All right. We've never talked to you after one of these telecasts with a victory. Now you can